Just how damaging will yesterday's 3-0 defeat at the Etihad be for the defending Premier League champions? Liverpool have now lost 5 games this season, and on only 3 occasions has a team lost more than that and gone on to claim the title. Arsenal invincible Martin Keown wonders if they're facing a crisis at Anfield.
I don't know whether or not the manager's lost them a little bit. He's very pragmatic afterwards. You know, there's 7 defeats this season. Performances have fallen well short of where they were last season. It was quite magnificent last season. He's got to get that back, but it doesn't look as if he's got the players completely on board.
Well, there's still plenty of contention about Virgil van Dijk's disallowed goal yesterday, with many saying it should have stood. The former Premier League referee Chris Foy is inclined to agree, but explains overturning a decision isn't as straightforward as it seems.
Once the decision is given on field, you know, it's very difficult then for the VAR to overturn it. I think they need clear evidence. You know, it's very, very subjective. And is it a clear and obvious error where Michael Olive can intervene? I don't think it is.
There is some joy on Merseyside, though, with Everton well clear of a relegation threat. David Moyes is mostly pleased with how the season started for the Toffees, but he's particularly been impressed with James Garner.
He's played great at midfield, and I've said a couple of times recently he's probably getting closer to getting talked about for England, I think, because of his performances, but he's played full-back for me as well. He's done a brilliant job, Jimmy, for us.
Some good news for Villa fans this afternoon. Morgan Rogers has signed a new contract. It's a 6-year deal, meaning he'll stay at Villa Park until 2031. He says simply, it's home. Meanwhile, both Billy Gilmore and Lennon Miller are out of Scotland's crucial World Cup qualifier with Greece. They need a point to set up a one-match showdown with Denmark for qualification at Hampden next Tuesday. And in Rugby Union, Scotland's head coach has mixed feelings after coming so close to a first ever win over New Zealand. Gregor Townsend spoken to talkSPORT.
It was our first game since really the Six Nations with all our players back, so to play at that level straight away is pleasing, but not to win is disappointing.
Get more at talksport.com.
This is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs with you through until 4 here on talkSPORT. Where this afternoon, Andy? Please tell us what's coming up.
Well, coming up over the next 3 hours, Danny Kelly returns to go game by game through the Premier League weekend. Former Spurs and Liverpool defender Stephen Corker pops into the studio, and we'll enter the murky world of hooky fire sticks with documentary maker Adam Leventhal.
That's right. It's a very interesting documentary. We also have more of Andy's nonsense by numbers. We'll ask about the time you didn't know the rules. And Andy Brassel brings us all the big stories from around Europe.
There's all this plus ex-Wolves winger Matt Jarvis on Rob Edwards' imminent arrival, and the Barmy Army on the upcoming mass Ashes invasion of Oz.
Yeah.
And I'll be telling you how my foolish male pride led to a large repair bill.
Here we are.
Oh dear.
The classic Andy story, I think, coming up. So
honestly,
maybe you'll have similar.
I just hate myself. Really.
Anyway,
yes.
It is 6 minutes past 1. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Andy.
Good afternoon, everybody. Apologies for not wearing my poppy today.
Where's your poppy?
I'll tell you what happened. I've got one like you, like a club one, like Chelsea.
Which you kindly got this for me, yeah.
And I realised I was wearing it at Brentford yesterday.
Oh, no.
Of course, it's got Chelsea on it. So I thought,
that wasn't your smartest
I took
move.
it off and put it in my I think I put it in my pocket or something, but other trousers.
Interloper.
Do apologise.
Yeah,
but I couldn't keep it on, really, could I?
Yeah.
You know. So there we go. What else have we got?
We're going to be joined by a guest tomorrow on the 11th of the 11th on the football battalions. New book on the football battalions. Fascinating story. And we'll be joined by the author of that tomorrow. Anyway, Andy, what did you do that made you hate yourself?
Oh, really?
Do you want to tell us that now?
I can do now. Yeah. What happened was I went to Sainsbury's yesterday morning.
No, well, don't hate yourself for that.
No,
I mean,
don't.
It's a fine store.
It's not Waitrose.
No. Other stores are available, yeah.
Yeah. So I pulled in and parked, and then when I came back to the car after doing the shopping, I couldn't get in. So I said,
couldn't get in the car.
I couldn't get in the car. My car door was too close to the bloke next to me. So
that's ridiculous. Was that his fault, or do I?
Well, wait. So
here we go.
So I said,
"Can we get ready with the Curb Your Enthusiasm music?"
So I said to him, "I can't get in." He said to me, "Well, why do you think that is?" And I looked down at my parking. I said, "Because of terrible parking by me," but I didn't say terrible.
Right, so you were in
it was my fault.
You were in the part of his zone.
Right on the line. Over the line.
This is full Larry David.
So he started laughing and he said, "Oh, don't worry, mate, okay," because he was a bit threatening at first. But when I said it was my fault, he was fine. He said, "Shall I move out and let you come in?" I went, "Oh, no, I didn't," because I didn't want him. I said, "I'll go round the other side."
Get in the passenger side.
Get in the passenger side. But this is a two-seater, bucket seat kind of sports car.
Right.
With a big central area, and I got wedged in. I couldn't move.
You were stuck. Did they have to phone the fire brigade?
No, I couldn't get any purchase.
Did they have to lube you up? Put a bit of Vaseline on your love handles and push you through?
No, I just had to get some purchase with my foot. But
Very little purchase.
I finally got some purchase, but put my foot straight through the control panel. the air conditioning control. I thought, well, I'll pop that. You can't pop it back in. The whole thing's a whole big unit. The whole thing's going to have to come off.
Wow.
Be put back.
And Mercedes as well. They'll charge you a few quid, won't they?
Hundreds of quid. Just because I didn't want the bloke to
basically just for the Mercedes mechanic just to have a look, just to look at it with his eyes. That's 60 quid.
It's so ridiculous.
If he just looks at the car.
I could have just said to the bloke, "Oh, that's very nice of you." Yeah, okay. He was sitting in the car. He could have pulled out, let me in, and go back. And I didn't.
Why didn't you park in a designated bay?
Well, I thought I had. I pulled in and thought, "Oh, I've parked quite well." Then I thought, "Oh no, I'm not in the right place." So I reparked it. When I reparked it, have you ever seen that thing that Stephen Mulhern does, like In for a Penny, where people have to park in the bay? Yeah, I wouldn't be very good at that.
Wow. So an expensive lesson for you.
Sitting there going, "Oh, I mean, goodness sake."
I'd ask the listeners whether they've ever done that, but of course they haven't, because this stuff only ever happens to Andy. Nothing happens to me over the course of a weekend.
I'm such a ridiculous
How did you get? So when you got wedged in the car, I mean, you just, what do you mean you couldn't move?
I got a bit panicky because Sue was waiting like in another part of the car park with all the shopping. Yeah, and I go and get the car, and I was thinking she's going to wonder where I am.
Yeah.
I'm wedged in.
So you couldn't go back or forward?
I couldn't go back or forward. I was actually stuck.
Couldn't he have pulled your legs?
I didn't like to look at him looking at me.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, no, ridiculous.
Well done. No one's going to match that, whatever story they tell us today. But that is classic you.
Very much so,
isn't it? Really, but I thought, what do you take away from that? Park the car in the designated bay. That's what the lines are there for.
Don't be so stupid. Would be basically it. Did you see the Indian cricketer? They had 8 sixes in a row.
Yeah,
including 6 off the spinner Limar Darby. I mean, I feel a bit sorry for him. So that's Malcolm Nash, Stuart Broad, and me, and now this bloke.
And this bloke, Franklin Rose. You got him for 7 sixes.
No, 6. No, it wasn't 7. It was 6 sixes and
2 no balls.
Oh no, yeah, maybe it was 7.
It was 7 sixes. I was there. Franklin Rose, the old West Indies.
I changed my whole style of bowling after that.
It was a big moment for you, wasn't it?
I did. I became a much better bowler.
7 sixes off of you. That's it. And a couple of no balls to stop him hitting it.
It's good, isn't it?
What about the day you forgot the rules or the laws? Ben Hamer, the fine goalkeeper, has not played for 20 months. For various reasons. I think he was on loan at Sheffield Wednesday and didn't really play. He's gone to QPR, finally got a game at the weekend. Not played for 20 months. And the 8-second rule had passed him by.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So he's clinging onto the ball, and ref blows the whistle, gives the opposition a corner. And he said, I was a bit rusty in the first 10 minutes, didn't know the rule, cost us a corner, he said. If they'd scored from that, I wouldn't have heard the last of it.
No, you wouldn't.
So now that's slightly different, because obviously football's his game, and And but he didn't know the rules. So we're
He
interested.
obviously doesn't watch a lot of football as well. Because
He's not been keeping in
I'm
close.
not a professional player, but I knew the rule.
He's not been keeping in close touch with the world of goalkeeping, I think, during this period.
Obviously.
Slightly worrying for QPR fans. But anyway, he made some good saves.
Good.
So the point is, did you ever try sport out without knowing the rules? And maybe everybody's giving you a bit of a funny look because you're doing stuff within the body of this sport you don't particularly know that certainly aren't in the rules. Let us know. talksport.com/H&J. You can text to 81089 or tweet to TSH&J or give us a call 03717 223344. I can't go around his story. That is quite spectacular, even by his standards. Getting wedged in the car.
Ridiculous. I know. What are you going to do? Never mind. We're all getting very excited about Alan Brazil running this horse running at one.
It's the French spelling of Brazil. It's Alan Bresil, Bresil.
I think there's a
Do you
better...
have racing in France, David?
They do.
Yeah.
Chantilly. There's a better named horse, I think, running at Cheltenham this week. Pony Soprano.
That's
good.
That is very good, yeah. So we are going to. Rupert's going to keep an eye on that. Rupert Bell's going to keep an eye on that race because the boys on breakfast were very taken with it. So we'll see how Alan Brazil, the French pronunciation and spelling, does today in that race. It's 14-1, isn't it?
It's got no chance.
Doesn't sound massively like it's got much of a chance. But anyway, Rupert will keep us updated. We'll kick off chatting to Danny Kelly. We're going to go game by game through the Premier League weekend, kicking off at the Etihad, where City were on fire, especially, of course, Doku. What an amazing performance by him.
Can I just congratulate Ryanair's PR department?
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant, isn't it? Have you seen this hero from the Forest Fair?
Yeah.
He was booked to go out on a Ryanair flight, but obviously he couldn't make it because he got injured, and they wouldn't give him a refund. It's brilliant.
Yes,
it's absolutely brilliant. You think to yourself, for a couple of £100, surely it would have been better gesture.
I think you'll find that was a decision made by someone on the end of a phone. Once the PR department find out about it, they will rectify that.
Yeah,
I would
they
imagine if the management hear about it. Yeah, it's not great PR. Anyway. Let's kick off with Danny Kelly, shall we? And, game by game through the Premier League weekend. Lots more to come. Stephen Corker popping in to see us a little bit later on as well, formerly of Spurs and Liverpool. You listen to Hawksbee and Jacobs on talkSPORT in partnership with TalkStation. Check out TalkStation Unmissable Deals. Great offers on hundreds of trade brands. Next stop, TalkStation.
De Ligt, and he has stolen a point. He's got up highest.
Everton 2, Fulham 0. Michael Keane.
Nuno Espirito Santo punches the air. West Ham 3, Burnley 2.
It's Sunderland 2, Arsenal 2. Equaliser coming from one of the new Sunderland signings over the summertime, Brian Brobby.
Eto scoring against his old club. 3-0 to Chelsea.
It is a thumping one indeed. Aston Villa 4, Bournemouth 0.
Henderson will come forward, right-footed, and drills it into the back of the net. A third goal for Nottingham Forest.
Neck and neck in the league table, and they couldn't be separated on the pitch. Crystal Palace 0, Brighton 0.
3 points wrapped up for Brentford. Igor Thiago with his second of the afternoon. Brentford 3, 10-man Newcastle 1.
Jeremy Doku has just made it. Manchester City 3, Liverpool 0. As well as Liverpool played against Real Madrid in midweek, they have been atrocious. You still think they can win the title? No chance.
What a weekend, another big weekend of football in the Premier League. Let's reflect on it all now in the company of Danny Kelly. Good afternoon, Dan.
Hello, chaps. Yeah, an amazing weekend again. I mean, whatever about the quality of the Premier League this season, it's serving up some top drama, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's kick off the obvious place at the Etihad yesterday. Manchester City 3, Liverpool 0. Chastening day for Liverpool. Pep's 1000th game in charge. I mean, really, Doku was the standout. What a performance by him.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was individually brilliant. That may be the best individual performance I've seen this season so far. Everything he did was fantastic, but the gap between the teams was scary. You heard the commentators there talk about Liverpool against Real Madrid. Well, that was one thing, but this was different, wasn't it? I mean, City are improving and improving very quickly. Liverpool are treading water at best domestically. And you're right, Doku was the outstanding thing, but I also think you have to look at the manager. Guardiola, 1,000 games. But the thing about it, it's not just 1,000 games, not just occupying a seat. It's 1,000 games of innovating, thinking things through. And the way they targeted the right side of Liverpool's team, because, and it's no disrespect to say to one of the greatest players in Premier League history, to say that they know that Mo Salah doesn't cover the fullback. He's not required to. All right, why don't we take advantage of that? And Doku and Nico Riley ran riot down there.
Yeah.
And Liverpool didn't respond. And that's what's so interesting about it. They stuck to their guns and were ripped apart.
Yeah, letting Konate have the ball was quite a genius thing. The interesting thing about Doku is we talk a lot about players like Xavi Simons and players who come into the league, how difficult it is. But Doku, he shows that eventually, if you do adapt, I mean, it's taken him a long time to become as good as this.
Yeah, no, it has. I'll tell you what,
nearly 100 games. I mean, it's amazing. Think about it. He's nearly played 100 games for Manchester City.
His level has been pretty good generally. One thing I noticed,
not like that. Not like
he's in a great team, though, isn't it? As well, you know, that helps.
There are lots of players. I mean, Wilson Odobert, for an example, who is a good young player, quite similar in Doku in the way he likes to play, but he needs to go on the Doku diet. It probably is just a but he's so robust. He's very, very hard to bounce off the ball. Players tend to bounce off him.
Well,
I think a lot of those tricky
Kudus are showing what having that kind of strength, upper and lower body, is a huge advantage in the increasingly physical Premier League. But apart from that, I mean, analysing is one thing. We just need to sit back and enjoy what he was doing, because it was great football.
The other thing I took from the game was Pep's anorak, proving that he can wear absolutely anything. He's wearing a sort of garment that Steve Evans would wear, no disrespect.
Wow, okay. Blimey, that is damning. That is damning.
But on Pep, it looked quite chic.
So, yeah, he can make anything look good. The tattiest old roll neck jumper. That's right. There was the contentious moment that Arne Slot wasn't happy with. And you can kind of see what he means. I suppose in the fact that Andy Robertson ducks means he kind of is interfering in an offside position. I mean,
I thought it was offside. He's there. I know he doesn't actually stand in his eye line, but he's there. The ball goes over his head and he's in an offside position.
Had VAR been making the decision and not the on-field officials, which they did, and VAR didn't think it was worth overall, VAR probably would have given the goal. That's probably the annoying thing from a Liverpool point of view.
Look, I hear the arguments, but he's clearly interfering with play. I'm sorry, I'm just not having this. For a start, the rule is wrong. let's say you're between the goalposts and the shot comes past you, you are interfering with play. Donnarumma, I saw professionals saying he planted his right foot, he wasn't affected by him. Subconsciously, of course he is, because that ball could have hit Robinson.
Sure.
His positioning and his reaction to the shot is influenced by the positioning of the Liverpool player. It's not Robinson's fault. The rule is wrong at the moment. I'm sorry. If they were back to the old rule about interfering, but he's in an offside position.
Yeah.
2 yards from the goal.
I think he knew
disallow
himself as well. He sort of said, "Oh, me." He sort of pointed to it and mouthed the words "me."
He did. Let's finish on this, asking the sensationalist question. Of course, is Slot under pressure, Danny? Do you feel?
Look, if you're the manager of the champions and you're mounting a title defence as poor as Leicester's 10 years ago or Blackburn's some years before that, you're certainly under scrutiny. He can't be under pressure because of what he did last season. But I ask me again, if this continues, it is worth noting they've got a very, very favourable run of fixtures coming up after the international break. So I think he'll be fine. But what is true is that I can't see them win the title from here. And I thought they were going to mount a very, very spirited defence of this title, but something is not quite right there. The integration of Wirtz isn't working yet. Mohamed Salah he's not going to get better at his age, is he? There's all kinds of things going on with that team.
And Van Dijk, and they have got problems there.
Let's move on. Forest 3, Leeds 1. First win for Sean Dyche. And Amari Hutchinson took the eye when he came on as a sub. Looked very lively, looked right at it. And so that was a good bonus for them. Apart from the
goal
victory.
brought down for the pen.
Difference between the sides, isn't it? This was one of those games that was critical because Forest, first and foremost, need to start beating the teams around them. And they did that. It looked on paper and statistically as a very even game. But in the end, Forest had quality. We know they've got quality. They spent a lot of money on having that kind of quality. Leeds don't have a proper Premier League goal scorer in their lineup. Forest have got them all over the place. And Murray Hutchinson come on and influence the game. And also, things are turning your way when Morgan Gibbs-White turns into Nat Lofthouse. Isn't that 3-headed goals in his last 4? This has come out of nowhere, hasn't it?
The actual relegation situation is going to be very exciting because
not if you're in it.
No, not if you're in it. But Wolves are for the neutral. I'm talking about for the neutral point of view. I mean, Wolves are stuffed on. There's no chance.
Yeah.
But it's quite hard to work out who's going to go down with them. It's so tight.
I mean, Leeds' problem is away from home. I was chatting to Tom Clayton, our resident Leeds fan, earlier on. They've lost 4 in 5 now. And they don't seem to be, as you said, I mean, they had a couple of late chances. Dominic Calvert-Lewin doesn't look like he's got enough goals in him, really, on a regular basis to keep them up. So it's going to be tough, isn't it? It's going to be about the home form, really.
Look, that's absolutely true. But just as we'll come on to it later on, just as Tottenham are giving themselves a mountain decline with their home form, teams who don't get anything away from home, you're handicapping yourself, really, quite heavily. Look, depending on what you're trying to do. Newcastle won't qualify for Europe unless they improve their away form, and Leeds won't stay up unless they improve their away form.
Absolutely. Let's move on very quickly, and it probably won't take long as we head into the news. Palace 0, Brighton 0. The fans were right up for it. The players maybe less so. Maybe a bit of a hangover from a Palace point of view of midweek. And
I think there were results last year, but generally it's a draw, and generally it's not a great game.
Yeah, maybe too much at stake. The Gay injury doesn't sound particularly good from a Palace point of view. And we had the Ruter booked for diving, first given a pen with his Mr. Grimsdale, as they call it in comedy circles.
Terrible simulation.
Bit of Norman wisdom. Even he had a right. He wasn't complaining when once the ref had.
No,
we keep asking, Danny, why do they dive knowing there are cameras there? I mean, what's the point?
Because still enough people are just about getting away with it to make it worth your while. This was, Tim Robinson, the referee, had to go to the screen and all the rest of it. Even then, they couldn't quite just leave it. We've caught someone diving. He used that phrase, he's initiated contact. There was no contact. He didn't initiate anything. He just threw himself to the ground. And it would be almost better if the referee was allowed to paint with lipstick the word D on the bloke's forehead for the rest of the game. D for diver. Because that's what we're talking about here, isn't it?
That would be great, wouldn't it?
It's a great.
Yeah.
In the match report of the game, it says the M23 derby had all the excitement of being stuck in a 90-minute tailbag.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Plenty more games then to cover. Just a reminder that the latest episode of the talkSPORT Daily podcast is available now. As former Premier League manager Alan Pardew Majestic round up all the Premier League action, including Pep Guardiola celebrating his 1,000th managerial game as City thrashed Liverpool 3-0. Where does Pep Guardiola rank among the all-time great managers? So I definitely have him in the top 20. If you want to hear more, then the talkSPORT Daily is available on all podcast platforms now. More from Danny in a moment.
Just how damaging will yesterday's 3-0 defeat at the Etihad be for the defending Premier League champions? Liverpool have now lost 5 games this season, and on only 3 occasions has a team lost more than that and gone on to claim the title. Arsenal invincible Martin Keown wonders if they're facing a crisis at Anfield.
I don't know whether or not the manager's lost them a little bit. He's very pragmatic afterwards. You know, there's 7 defeats this season. Performances have fallen well short of where they were last season. It was quite magnificent last season. He's got to get that back, but it doesn't look as if he's got the players completely on board.
Well, there's still plenty of contention about Virgil van Dijk's disallowed goal yesterday, with many saying it should have stood. The former Premier League referee Chris Foy is inclined to agree, but explains overturning a decision isn't as straightforward as it seems.
Once the decision is given on field, you know, it's very difficult then for the VAR to overturn it. I think they need clear evidence. You know, it's very, very subjective. And is it a clear and obvious error where Michael Oliver can intervene? I don't think it is.
There is some joy on Merseyside, though, with Everton well clear of a relegation threat. David Moyes is mostly pleased with how the season started for the Toffees, but he's particularly been impressed with James Garner.
He's probably getting closer to getting talked about for England, I think, because of his performances. But he's played fullback for me as well. He's done a brilliant job, Jimmy, for us.
Get more at talkSPORT.com.
Just a reminder that Alan Brasil is running today at Kempton. We're still waiting the result. We'll bring it to you.
We could tell you what's happening at the 1:30 at Chantilly.
Yeah,
got the wrong one
that seems to have just finished. We've now turned over both channels onto the racing at Chantilly. So
very helpful.
Top work engineering.
Tremendous.
Keep it up. Anyway, let's move on. Danny Kelly's with us.
Firefall won it, if you're interested.
If Top Gear's ever brought back, I don't expect Andy to be the presenter on it, says Stephen in Hackney. Next game then. Next up,
Yes.
Brentford 3, Newcastle 1. The game Andy was at. Danny, maybe you should lead us off. What did you think of it, Andy? You were there.
I thought it was a very strange performance from Newcastle. They went 1-0 up against the run of play, but they didn't try and capitalise. They just sort of seemed to be happy setting back. And I said to my mate, if Brentford score, they'll score again. You can feel it, and that's exactly what happened. It was one of those games, and Newcastle are really quite strange at the moment. They're not playing well at all.
Yeah, I mean, very front foot Brentford. Keith Andrews saying, he went out to impose his team style on the opposition, whoever the opposition is. The game I witnessed at the Lane, of course, was two managers setting out to stop the other team playing, and that was their main raison d'etre. But anyway, Danny, what about this game?
Look, there'll be plenty of people talking about the away form of Newcastle. I think we should give some credit here to Brentford. Keith Andrews, in my opinion, I didn't know what was going to happen at Wolves this season. At the start of the season, I thought he had the most difficult job in the Premier League, following Thomas Frank, and particularly as they'd sold most of their forward line in the summer as well, or lost them over the past 12 months. He has done fantastically well here. And of course, it's down to the players as well. Igor Thiago, looked like they found another centre forward out of nowhere, if you like. And Kevin Schade has just been called up by the German national side. And if you think about the talent they've got in the wide positions, albeit they've got an injury to Jamal Musiala to deal with, that is an incredible validation of everything Kevin Schade does off the pitch there. And just things like, they took on Newcastle, who've got a Land of the Giants team. And so eventually we will get the set piece that we're so renowned for, and they did. So I thought it was a really, excellent goal by Barnes for Newcastle. But after that, it was down to Brentford, their new manager, their better players. In some of them are, new or settling in. They're really doing very, very well in what I think was, at the start of the season, looked like a very tricky proposition.
Newcastle's mindset, though, they were time wasting from the first half. You're going, what are you doing? Try and get a second goal.
Hadn't won away, 9 games out and away win. They probably thought we got our noses in front. Let's hang on to what we've got.
Brentford were far the better team, well deserved.
Yeah.
So we'll move on shortly. Before that, though, Alan, I'm afraid I'm watching the 136 dog racing from Romford currently. But I think
who's winning?
The race, the 3 dog. I think the race has concluded.
It's called Ali McCoy's that dog.
Oh yeah, Alan Brasil, spelt in the French way, has run at Kempton. I understand. Rupert Bell can give us all the fallout. We take it didn't win, Rupe.
No, but I tell you what, showed more speed than Alan Brasil has showed for the last 25 years working for talkSPORT, because this horse actually showed a bit of stamina about him and actually ran on well to be a very encouraging third in a race that was actually referred to as quite promising, with 2 decent novice hurdlers in the making, Casino de Mots and Fresh Kicks, and actually was beaten by about 8 lengths, ran on really well. So Alan Brasil, maybe the most famous horse in racing today as a result of the mentions that this horse has received. And I did speak to the trainer, Nick Schofield, and he said this horse has got potential. You can see that today. So Alan Brazil, let's keep an eye on this horse in the future. Not a disgraceful run.
Why don't they call it Alan Brazil, not Alan Bressil? I think
did the owner tell you why they've gone down that route?
I think it may have been called Alan Brazil. I think it was over before it came over, and so I've no idea why. We should probably ask them to change the name and spell it correctly.
That would be a hell of a coincidence, wouldn't it? That there's someone in France called Alan Bressil.
Well,
bonjour.
But the horse did go off at 100 to 1 today.
Wow.
Well, there we go.
You imagine what it would be like. Thank you, Rupert. Thanks very much.
I mean, I don't mean to stereotype our colleague, but I once bumped into by accident Alan Brazil in what can only be described as a pub in the city of London. I have to tell you, his stamina was not in doubt.
No, exactly. Very much so.
Unbelievable.
In the frame, I hope Alan got on it each way.
Yeah.
You'll be very happy when you next hear from him later in the week. Aston Villa 4, Bournemouth 0.
That would have pleased Rupert as well.
The Martinez save, the one that he had to push over the bar, is it me or was that just a brilliant? I thought there'd be a lot more fuss about it. When I saw it, I was watching the old quad screen thing on Sky. When I saw it happen, I thought, what a save that is. I mean, to make up the ground, to get a strong enough hand when you're I thought it was an amazing save.
Paul, we live in an age where we underestimate goalkeepers all the time. You've got the commentators, including myself, occasionally saying, well, that was coming at a decent angle. These people are doing remarkable things. He is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And you're right, it passed by as though he'd come out and done up his shoelaces, didn't he? Well done. He got back, he arched himself, he got it over. He played very well in general, but it was one of those days where that was typical of a day where everything went right for Aston Villa. From Buendia's free kick, which sets the tone, to everything else that could go right for them went absolutely right for them. And I have to also make a small confession here. I praised on this very programme the fact that Bournemouth appeared to have replaced their entire defence successfully. Yesterday or during the weekend, under a bit of pressure, they did look like relative strangers. Some of the spaces that the Villa forwards and midfield players being allowed to find suggested that they were still bedding those new defenders in.
They had no luck, did they? Had Adam Smith and Tyler Adams sort of clash of heads. It didn't. They had a couple of moments, the save there and the penalty. But
I'm glad the penalty was saved because the handball rule, we know this is mad.
Yeah, farcical.
It was ridiculous. He wasn't even looking. He's looking in the other direction, turning his head, and the ball strikes his arm. I'm sorry, that's not a penalty. It's ludicrous.
No, it wasn't deserved, really, from that point of view. You forget about the depth. You see Barkley come on and score, and you think, oh, yeah, they've got Barkley. The same way you've kind of forgotten about Buendia. And they've built on that. They've got a very, very strong squad, Villa, haven't they?
Yeah, I think we, because they made such a shaky start to the season, all that was kind of forgotten, that they had a very good season last year and had it added to their team. And that's beginning to pay dividends for them now. And of course, when you asked me earlier on, is Arne Slot under pressure? These things are all relative. It would have been easy to talk about Unai Emery being under pressure, but he's essentially base metal, grind all the paint off. He is a very good football manager and good at finding solutions to problems. And Aston Villa are over their problems now and up and running. That's not to say that Bournemouth have got a load of problems. They just had a difficult day at the office,
It's amazing, though. The league's so concertina. There's 4 points between second and 12th. It's bonkers.
Very, very little bit. I mean, that's the thing. If you lose a couple of games, you can easily find yourself going from sort of 4th or 5th to about 12th. That is the situation. So you've got to be right on it. Let's have a look then, finally, in this section. Chelsea 3, Wolves 0. They made it tough for you first half, Andy, but you always felt the breakthrough was coming, didn't you? Were you quite zen?
Court.
Oh, you're right. Okay, you were eating.
I was having an anniversary dinner with my family.
You're having
but a 0-0. Looking at
Mummy's profiteroles.
Yeah, my son said it's half time. It's 0-0. I thought, I'm glad we're here, really, but. In the end, it was fine. Esteval he gives everything a lift. He's a really terrific player. We haven't even seen the best of him yet. He's going to be a superstar, that boy.
Yeah, the size of the task facing Rob Edwards was apparent. Chelsea are improving, I think, incrementally. Andy may not see it, but I do. They are improving. And Wolves, I understand why. I'm going to have a go at someone here. I understand why Rob Edwards is going to Wolves. He's an ex-player there. He lives in the area and all the rest of it. But I do wish that in the run-up to this, he hadn't been one of those younger managers who constantly talks about family and loyalty and all the rest of it to the Middlesbrough fans, and then first chance he gets to uproot his own family, off he goes. I get it, positivity and building up relationship with the fans. This is all part of the game, but I think it tastes. It doesn't. It tastes bitter when they then up sticks and go off somewhere else. So it's not like he's been at Middlesbrough for 5 years, is it?
No.
It's a pretty impossible job.
It looks pretty tough.
It's basically all about can he bring them back next year. Really.
Hence the length of the contract. Yeah. That's obviously what they're dealing with, isn't it?
A bit of help in January, but you wonder whether that would be too late by then, or do they write it off at that point? Do you sense
they want to go there? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, they do lack a bit of depth. Unlike Chelsea, who, as you said, can bring a lad like Esteval on to turn a game round. So Garnacho, again, good work by him.
Yeah.
Great speed.
Yeah.
He's got all the ability in the world. What he needs is his attitude. You know, that's the thing.
old bottom lip goes if he goes off, doesn't he?
Being subbed and showing it and all that, got to drop that. But his form looks good.
Danny Kelly is with us. We're going game by game through the Premier League weekend. Alan Brasil has finished third in the race. The sire of the horse, Alan Brasil, is called Blue Brasil. So I guess that's why the owners called it Brasil rather than Brazil. Well, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you very much. It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT with our good friends at Toolstation. You can check out Toolstation's unmissable deals, great offers on hundreds of trade brands. Next stop, Toolstation. For Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. 4 games to hoover up, taking us back to Saturday lunchtime. Sunderland 2, Arsenal 2, Danny. Yes. Drop points for Arsenal? I don't know. I mean, Sunderland's going to be a tough place to go. What did you make of it from that, from both teams' point of view?
I think both teams can take great credit from the game, actually. Sunderland set out with a template to get after Arsenal physically, and yet the game ended up with both sides committed 13 fouls, and Arsenal were knocked out of their stride, but they came back from behind at a very difficult ground, and in the end, it took a very, very late and rather excellent take by Brian Brobby to rob them. So I would say, Trossard also got a brilliant goal, didn't he? I would say that both sides can come out of this and say that Sunderland achieved something that they wanted to and got a point out of the game. Arsenal can say we played really well. I mean, they had 500 plus passes away from home and 17 shots at goal. They may mourn the 2 points that got away, but the performance didn't suggest they were in any way dropping off. So I think, as I said, both sides can take pretty good credit from that game.
Did you like the fact they shifted the advertising hoardings forward to Sunderland, a bit of S-housery to stop the Arsenal players having a decent run at the long throws?
I remember things like Graham Souness narrowing the pitch for one of Liverpool's games for some other reason.
Rangers, that was, yeah. I think it was Dinamo.
Rangers.
I think Absolutely. It was a Dinamo Kiev game.
Yes,
yeah, that's
right. I'm sure it's a great move, and it has all kinds of ramifications. Did it make that much difference? I'm not sure it did, because of course they too must have a long throw taker who's similarly hampered. Yeah. Unless they get the ball boys as. Was it Tranmere used to do it with Challoner? They used to
move them back and forward.
Move a little gate open for him to take his long throw.
Bromley's equaliser is interesting, though, because it was foot up, because he made contact with the ball. They never give it, do they? They only give it if obviously makes contact with the head. But it was a high foot, but,
the brave referee would have cancelled that out in the heat of that stage. To make it also, one of my other takeaways from the game is what a bargain Leandro Trossard turned out to be for Arsenal. He's like a Swiss Army.
Better than Mudryk? Well, they were going to buy him the same day.
Apparently,
for 80 million.
You'll be delighted to hear. I understand he was offered to our mob, Danny, but we felt 28 million quid for a 28-year-old was too much. Didn't represent value for money. I'd say Arsenal have got their value for money already.
Absolutely, and age is a ridiculous thing to be judging these things on, because if you get 2 or 2.5, 3 years good service out of a player at this level of the Premier League, the money looks like a complete bargain, doesn't it? And he is covering up for Martinelli when he's injured, or Martinelli when he's not in the best form. But the truth is, you could argue he's more valuable to Arsenal overall. Really good.
Yeah, they missed what Gyökeres gives them. There's no question about that. Even though he doesn't get a lot of goals, he's effective. And I thought, though, and what drives me mad is Sunderland. They're 1-0 up. If I was a Sunderland fan, I'd be getting mad. And they're playing it out from the back. They get caught by Rice, and then Arsenal equals. Why are you playing there? Just play in their half. You're 1-0 up. Play in their half. A better idea.
They made an amazing start. It's been sensational. It makes the league so much more interesting that we're not looking at the 3 that come up and think they're totally going down again.
Yeah, that's true.
West Ham 3, Burnley 2. Back-to-back wins
going down.
Back-to-back wins for West Ham, though. Not quite as convincing as last week against Newcastle, but they got it done. But it was, both keepers didn't have the best of days, did they? Especially Dubravka, really.
I don't want you to think about this too much, but you're taking the words right out of my mouth. I did not have this down as a goal fest, a 5-goal thriller, but that's because I didn't realise that both the goalkeepers were going to chuck them in as the course of the game went on. 3 obvious goalkeeping errors means that logic about the game goes out the window. The only bit of logic I take from it is that, again, you judge teams how they play away from home, but also when they go behind. And West Ham showed a bit of grit. They certainly looked lacking earlier in the season. And you got someone like Thomas Souček, right? He's part of the problem because his lack of mobility as the years go by is evident to anybody. He's also part of the solution because he brings a bit of spirit and a bit of spunk, to use a word, to West Ham United. And look, they got the right manager. We said it at the start. Even after a dodgy start with Nuno, they've got the right manager. They may have an unbalanced squad for what he wants to do, but he knows what he wants to do. Now that he's settled on the players that he wants to do it with, they look much better. Burnley had control of the game from what I only saw the highlights, but Burnley looked to have control of the game for about a third of it. After that, though, West Ham, decent in defence without having to be great, and people like Fernandes then showing that little bit of flair that the crowd there will demand.
Everton 2, Fulham 0.
Worrying signs for Fulham, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's just weird, isn't it? 5 away defeats. And then Muniz got re-injured, which was a bit of a blow. It was good. The Evertonians, sometimes as fans, it's not happening for a player, but you can see they're trying. You can see it is going to happen.
Yeah.
Again, Cherno Barry, he had one chalked off. He wasn't the only one. But he got a good reception when he went off. I think it's probably the weight from an Evertonian's point of view. They'll get the best out of him. And I think he thanked the fans after the game for that.
Look, by and large, most groups of fans can tell whether the experts want to believe it or not, whether a player is putting in everything he's got. And that goes a tremendously long way with football crowds. I know it should be the least, the least you can do is to try your hardest, but he is clearly putting in absolutely everything he's got. And also, they're probably a bit afraid of who they bring in to replace him if they boo him off the pitch. The sadness for me was the annual James Tarkowski amazing volley being cancelled this year round. That's very bad for those who meet to discuss his volleying skills.
Yeah, Dewsbury Hall was great and a really good.
I'm pleased for him. He was good for Chelsea.
Yeah, he never really got a chance, did he?
Not a football chance.
Whenever he's been regularly picked by a club in the Premier League, he's been very good. That's the story, isn't it?
Yeah. Football, though, I've written this. Football's become like ice hockey, not ice hockey, like hockey.
Oh right.
You only ever get goals from penalty corners. It does feel like that. It feels like, there's a lot of play and everything, but it's the set plays that are deciding these games. And,
finally, Spurs 2, Manchester United 2 on talkSPORT Saturday.
Roxburgh won't like him.
He won't. No,
he said corners were a waste of time.
He did.
That's paraphrasing it.
Yeah, I don't think he ever said that. But anyway,
you know what I mean.
Spurs Manchester United 2-2, and it was pretty poor fare for most of the time, really, for both sets of supporters. Really, quite low in quality.
Forgive me if I describe this with a simile that won't mean anything to the younger listeners. But Spurs, Manchester United are 2 of the 10 richest clubs in the world. To watch them playing out Europa League Final 2 for much of this game, it was like in the old Jusson Frontier knockout games, where they used to have those big sponge giants running at each other and falling over. That's what these 2 games reminded me of. I mean, entertaining in its own mad way, but no quality gianting going on at all there.
Neither manager, as I said earlier on, Danny, really concentrating on cancelling out the opposition. You can excuse that for an away team, maybe. Maybe less so for the home team. Whatever. Spurs are quite an unlovable team to watch at the moment, for whatever reason.
The last thing you needed was to go 1-0
There
down.
are myriad reasons why, which we haven't got time to go into now, but it's tough football to love, Danny.
It is because he can't find a combination of forward players to combine with the midfield, and so Spurs, they can only do what they're doing at the moment, concentrating on trying to defend their goal. They've got some very good defenders. They've also got some defenders who have bad days, like Pedro Porro did there. The really worrying thing, Paul, is that stat that everyone's now using, that Spurs have the worst home record over the last 20 games. It's worse because West Ham have won their last 2. Spurs are now 6 points worse off at home than the next worst team. They're just putting enormous pressure on themselves, but it's inability. But this is nothing new. The new stadium has been there 6 years, and Spurs have lost in the mid-40s of Premier League games. I don't buy into all the current pundits. It's just a lovely place to play football. Well, it's the same for both sides. It must be a lovely place for Spurs to play as well.
Apparently, some of the journalists from Manchester were saying you need to feed off the toxicity. You need, if you're an away team. I mean, Amrim kind of said that. He said, we should have looked at the environment, sort of saying the crowd will turn them in the end, and we should capitalise on
form
that.
is really quite splendid, isn't it?
I think that's a bit unfair on the Tottenham fans, really.
Well, they put up with a lot in the last year or so at home watching that team. What I will say, Paul, is almost like a kind of an identity parade. We now know that Spurs should not and hopefully will not start again with 2 right-footed players down their left-hand side. Because when Ndogi and Odebear came on, Both of them are pretty good footballers, but the very fact that they were playing with their natural foot completely transformed Spurs' outlook in the second half.
Absolutely.
From United's point of view, I mean, 2 away draws after being behind, especially being behind, and especially going down to 10 men. So, Lammon's looks an upgrade as well. So.
Yeah, he made a couple of very good saves.
Yes,
but
good.
Essentially, an absolutely fair result. I don't think anybody could
No,
deny that.
I mean, I was gutted by the equaliser, but Spurs didn't deserve to win, did they? A draw was probably right.
I felt exactly the same. Danny, thank you.
Loved it.
We will catch up with you next week. All the best.
And I'll be here on Wednesday.
Oh yes. Danny's up on Wednesday. Fantastic. That's Danny Kelly there. He's also on Trans Europe Express with Andy Brassel. And if you couldn't listen last night, then the podcast is available wherever you get your podcast. A deep dive into the world of European football. We'll have a kind of bite-sized one with Andy a little bit later on. Stephen Corker's going to pop in to see us. And we enter the murky world of illegal streaming with Adam Leventhal, broadcaster, journalist, and indeed Watford fan. So we'll have a spring in his step after Friday. That's all. I think did they win or did they draw? I can't remember. Anyway, a draw's
David Miller.
A draw's a good result these days. He'll tell us. That's all coming up.
Just how damaging will yesterday's 3-0 defeat at the Etihad be for the defending Premier League champions? Liverpool have now lost 5 games this season, and on only 3 occasions has a team lost more than that and gone on to claim the title. Arsenal invincible Martin Keown wonders if they're facing a crisis at Anfield.
I don't know whether or not the manager's lost them a little bit. He's very pragmatic afterwards. The 7 defeats this season, performances have fallen well short of where they were last season. It was quite magnificent last season. He's got to get that back, but it doesn't look as if he's got the players completely on board.
Well, there's still plenty of contention about Virgil van Dijk's disallowed goal yesterday, with many saying it should have stood. The former Premier League referee Chris Foy is inclined to agree, but explains overturning a decision isn't as straightforward as it seems.
Once the decision is given on field, it's very difficult then for the VAR to overturn it. I think they need clear evidence. It's very, very subjective. And is it a clear and obvious error where Michael Olive can intervene? I don't think it is.
There is some joy on Merseyside, though, with Everton well clear of a relegation threat. David Moyes is mostly pleased with how the season started for the Toffees, but he's particularly been impressed with James Garner.
He's played great in midfield, and I've said a couple of times recently he's probably getting closer to getting talked about for England, I think, because of his performances, but he's played fullback for me as well. He's done a brilliant job, Jimmy, for us.
Some good news for Villa fans this afternoon. Morgan Rogers has signed a new contract. It's a 6-year deal, meaning he'll stay at Villa Park until 2031. He says simply, it's home. Meanwhile, both Billy Gilmore and Lennon Miller are out of Scotland's crucial World Cup qualifier with Greece. They need a point to set up a one-match showdown with Denmark for qualification at Hampden next Tuesday. And in Rugby Union, Scotland's head coach has mixed feelings after coming so close to a first ever win over New Zealand. Gregor Townsend spoken to talkSPORT.
It was our first game since really the Six Nations with all our players back, so to play at that level straight away is pleasing, but not to win is disappointing.
Get more at talksport.com.
Yes, good afternoon. Paul Hawksbee, Hawksbee Jacobs here on talkSPORT. We're going to have a chat with boxer Tommy Welsh a little bit later on, fighting Richard Riakporhe on the undercard of Eubank Ben 2, which we bring you live on talkSPORT this Saturday. His dad, Scott, was a fine boxer, of course. Both remember him fighting, and his dad was also a bodyguard for Mike Tyson. That was fun along the way. Adam Leventhal joins us, broadcaster and journalist from The Athletic. He's done a big deep dive into the world of illegal streaming. They're interesting stuff. New podcast. Adam will tell us more about that. And Stephen Corker pops in, formerly of Liverpool, Spurs, Swansea, and played in AFCON as well for Sierra Leone. So we'll talk about that because a number of players will be heading off to AFCON in January. But anyway, before all of that, let's head around Europe. Where maybe there was a little bit of a Champions League hangover for some of the big boys.
Like it, doesn't it?
Andy Brassel, as always, joins us. Hi, Andy.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Yeah, we say that because there were draws for Real Madrid and Bayern. Maybe we should start with Madrid.
Yeah, let's. I mean, I think it's not just to be taken in isolation, but the fact that it was the second game in a week where they'd gone away from home, not won because they'd not scored. 2 Real Madrid games without them scoring is a big deal. I think particularly when you put it against the background of a very, very disappointing display in the Champions League, and the fact that there's this Xabi Alonso Vinicius non-relationship hanging over everything. I mean, I guess interests who want to get their thoughts out there are propping the story that the club are very keen to re-sign Vinicius again this morning. They've been keen to re-sign him for a long time, but I guess that is put up or shut up towards Xabi Alonso to a certain extent. There is a sense in the Madrid media that he's become a little bit more taciturn and a little bit less approachable. And I guess there are so many elements in the dressing room that want him to be like previous Real Madrid coaches, that want him to be like Carlo Ancelotti, who want him to be an ego polisher. But that's not what he is. He's someone who believes quite strongly in meritocracy. And because of the traditional mechanics of a Real Madrid dressing room, there's going to be enormous friction while he's there. There's no doubt about that. And some players are going to put up with that better than others. Vinicius is not putting up with it particularly well at the moment, but it was interesting seeing Xabi Alonso being interviewed in the press conference directly after this game against Rayo Vallecano, which is the last game they would really want, I think, after an away trip to Liverpool, where it's a small but good team in Real Madrid, where they didn't have any fans inside the ground because Rayo didn't give them any tickets. It's a three-sided ground. It's quite small and hostile. And, they were given a bit of a going over in this 0-0 draw. And he was asked afterwards, why didn't you bring on Endrick? And he said, well, there's lots of other players on the pitch that can score goals. End of answer. That's it. And, you do kind of wonder that Xabi Alonso, you look at him because he's a player of such standing, you think he's made for the Real Madrid job. But is he? Really? The kind of guy he is and the kind of coach he is? He's not a Zidane and he's not an Ancelotti. He's a very different type of guy. And if I had to put a length of time on it at the moment that I thought he'd stay in the job, I wouldn't be going, if we're talking unders, overs, I wouldn't be going much over 2 years at the moment, I don't think.
Wow. And you mentioned great against Liverpool. I mean, we've seen how poor Liverpool have been.
They were really bad. They were really bad. And I guess, Andy, this is the thing, because it's not just a Xabi Alonso thing. If you want to sort of step away from what the Madrid media are getting into at the moment, the reality is they went to Liverpool and they were twice as bad in losing 2-0 there last year. And I don't just mean statistically, they were absolutely terrible. They were marmalised there last year. And obviously Kylian Mbappe had his low point. So clearly this is something that's going to take time. Just the question is there the patience? I think we possibly know the answer to that.
You mentioned Endrick there, and if he wants to play in the World Cup, he's going to have to get some game time. He's getting none at Real Madrid. There's been a few stories about the Premier League. How do you think he would fare if he came into a Premier League club in January, Andy?
I don't see him as a starter for a top Premier League team. Now, the team that he is most likely to join in January, it seems, is Lyon, who've got a long history with Brazilian players. Of course, they sold Jorge Mikatadze right at the start of the season. They lost Alex Lacazette and Ryan Cherki in the summer. They've got no strikers to speak of. If he goes there, he's got a Portuguese-speaking coach, and he's going to play every game. So to me, that seems like an obvious move, really. If he gets to do that, and if he scores goals for Lyon, he will be fine. I mean, I can see long term how he would fit in the Premier League because he's very direct. He likes to take his shots early. But the fact is, he's barely had any time to prove himself this season, and we hope he gets that in the second half of the season.
Yeah, you're right. He's going to need everything in place so he can hit the ground running. And as you said, that the Lyon would be the perfect fit. Another great performance by Marcus Rashford. 2 assists.
Looking good.
Yeah, he's in good shape. He's clearly enjoying himself.
Yeah, apart from a minor deflection, it would have been 3 assists as well, because he set up the Lamine Yamal one to all intents and purposes. It took a little nick off Elisha Moriba on the way through, but the click between him and the other front two is amazing. It was a great game last night at Celta where they won 4-2 in the end. And Rashford is terrific. And of course, part of those assists is he's taking set pieces as well. He set up Robert Lewandowski, who came back into the team for his hat-trick goal with the corner that Lewandowski hit it in at the near post. The interesting story about Lewandowski this week, we know that Barcelona probably won't keep him beyond the end of this season for financial reasons, because he's on a pretty monstrous contract. So when that runs out, they'll be maybe pleased to see the back of him. Diego Simeone has put in a request to the Atletico Madrid board to sign Lewandowski for next season. Wow. Now, look, it's early. We don't know if anything's possible. But if we look at recent La Liga history, you look at David Villa was binned off by Barcelona, went and won the league at Atletico the year after in 2013-14. Luis Suarez, most famously. I mean, no one wants to get on the end of a Luis Suarez revenge season. I don't think a Lewandowski revenge season would be quite that grisly. But of course, remember, Suarez went there and won the league. Wouldn't it be amazing if Lewandowski at 37 goes off to Atletico and wins the league next season?
Wow, we'll keep an eye on that. Harry Kane had to pop up and score a goal, but not to win, just to get a point for Bayern.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about games that you'd least like after a difficult Champions League week. Remember, they were brilliant in that game against Paris where they won away, but they'd won 16 out of 16 going into the game against Union Berlin, but they played the whole second half in Paris with 10 men, and it really showed, I thought. Well, funnily enough, Kane is really at fault for anything that he does at Bayern, but it was his mistake, his poor defensive header that led to the second goal in the last 10 minutes by Danilo Doki that put Union 2-1 up. He scored 2. Manuel Neuer made a right mess of the first one. And then Kane pops up from nowhere and scores the equaliser 3 minutes into stoppage time. The good thing for them is because Dortmund conceded a 7th minute of stoppage time equaliser, and because Leipzig lost at Hoffenheim, they actually gained room at the top of the division rather than losing it, even though they dropped a couple of points.
Maybe we should head to Italy. What's Antonio Conte been up to?
Apparently it's if people aren't listening to me, maybe it's my fault,
right?
Or maybe it's their fault.
Oh.
You know, you've heard it all before, really,
indeed.
haven't you?
Yeah.
I mean, look, they lost 2-0 at Bologna yesterday. They were quite poor. They were poor in the Champions League in the week when they didn't beat Eintracht Frankfurt. They haven't scored for 3 games in a row, which is a massive problem. I think over those last couple of games, their goalkeeper Vanja Milinkovic-Savic has been their best player, and so Conte is meeting with the owner Aurelio De Laurentiis this week to have a bit of a chat about where they go from here. There's no immediate threat of him resigning, but he's unhappy, and he feels like the players aren't really pulling for him at the moment, which is a bit of a concern, especially as he's prepared to talk about it so publicly. So we'll see what happens next. The season's not a write-off or anything like that. They're still in the mix for the Champions League. They're 2 points off the top, but it's interesting to see the lead changing so prolifically in Serie A, and that really is what keeps them in the picture at the moment, because no team is really getting a grip of the league.
Just a quick one on Ivan Juric. Saints fans will remember. Could be toast by the sound of it, Atalanta.
Yeah, almost a year to the day that he was binned by Roma before he took the Southampton job. Remember, he got through a couple of jobs, and United fans in Italy and England against him last year, poor guy. Well, he was a surprise to a lot of people to get the Atalanta job, but it's because he's a sort of disciple of Gianpiero Gasperini, who went off to Roma, who, of course, are joint top at the moment. They're doing pretty well, and won at Rangers last week. And now Juric has really struggled to get people on side, and also you look at when they won a Marseille in the Champions League in the week. Of course, he had that rather physical row with Ademola Lookman as he came off the pitch. Now, however many old guys stick up for him in the Italian media, I think everyone who saw that knows you can't be grabbing and sort of jostling your players as they come off the pitch. And then they got smashed 3-0 at home by Sassuolo yesterday. So that could be curtains. And Raffaele Palladino, who's the former coach of Fiorentina, is going to come in and replace him.
Andy, we're out of time. Always a pleasure. We'll catch up with you soon. Thanks very much.
Thank you, guys.
There's Andy Brassel there, European football expert. If you want to hear the Trans-Europe Express podcast, that deep dive into the world of European football every Sunday night, the podcast is available with Danny and Andy wherever you get your podcasts. Well, another weekend of football, another round of refereeing debates. You can join Sam Matterface and the former Premier League referee Chris Foy on the Men in Black podcast as they dissect all the key refereeing controversies on the weekend, I'm sure including that Virgil van Dijk header. It's all the analysis you need packed into a single episode, available every Monday on the Premier League All Access podcast feed and on YouTube. Coming up next, we will be chatting to Tommy Welsh, a boxer in action on the Eubank Ben 2 undercard on Saturday, which will bring you on talkSPORT, taking on Richard Riakporhe. We're here with our good friends at Toolstation. Check out Toolstation's unmissable deals, great offers on hundreds of trade brands. Next stop, Toolstation. Hawksbee and Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Andy Goldstein, Darren Bent with you at 4 with Drive. We asked the listeners about not knowing the rules. Ben Hamer, currently at QPR, had not played for 20 months, and the 8-second rule had passed him by. So when he held onto the ball for 8 seconds, the ref blew up and gave the other team a corner. He said, I would have gotten a lot of stick if they'd scored from it. Sometimes you don't know the rules or the laws. This one comes from Andrew in Basingstoke. I was hopeless at cricket. So the captain at the time, who was also the batsman for Shrewsbury Schools, the opening batsman, decided I should be umpire. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, to the point where the bowler came down and bowled. I don't think he actually touched it with any part of his body or bat, but I just gave him out. Not out of malice, simply because I didn't know what I was doing. Anyway, it was his fault for making me umpire, says Andrew. Fair point, thank you, Andrew.
It's hard being an umpire.
Yeah, it certainly is. Keep those coming, talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH&J. Andy, going back to his story, it's a long story, but it involved him getting wedged in his car because he had to go in through the passenger side because he had parked so badly and he couldn't get in the driver's side. During COVID lockdown, says Simon from Dover, I had to go to the Royal Brompton Hospital in London for an MRI scan. Arranged a spot in the underground car park in nearby Sydney Street. Was driving a Honda CR-V and arrived to see my allotted slot was very narrow with just enough room to squeeze in. Had to open the rear hatchback, drive in, climb over the seats to get out the back. Close hatch and lock. Fantastic. Well done. It can happen. Thank you very much, Simon. And so, Andy, what have you got there from your list?
Well, I love this take on Alan Carr's win during Traitors. Everybody thought Alan did brilliantly, but not Carol, who wrote to the Star.
Yeah.
She said, Alan Carr shot himself in the foot by winning. His fans liked him before because he was kind and good, and now he's known for being a good liar.
It's a tally show.
I know. Good liar to people. He's 100% fake to people.
Oh, wow. You can't be taking Carol.
Honestly,
you shouldn't take these two seriously.
Sake. People.
I enjoy hearing about Andy's escapades. Good job he doesn't drive a Tesla, or there'd be documentary evidence of that moment in the Sainsbury's car. Yeah, I would have recorded it probably for you. That would have been great.
A foot through the screen.
250 quid from Harry Hill. Certainly, yes.
Not good.
Anything else?
Well, have some numbers gone.
Oh, go on then. I'll pick a number. It's Andy's numbers, nonsense by numbers. talkSPORT. What am I giving that out for? Where was I? Number 16? Have I had that one?
I have no idea.
Let's have a look.
Let's have a look. Oh, here we
Number
are.
16.
Yeah. So I need to. I might do that this week. No, you've done 16.
Oh, okay. 17.
17. No, you've done 17.
18.
18.
I'm trying to keep you on the same page, same time.
Okay. Oh, yes. Office workers are Billy no-mates.
Are they?
Who eat boring lunches alone on park benches or at desks. 2/3 of staff nibble their sarnie and crisps on their own, and 54% eat in front of their computer.
What a witless survey that is. What's the point of that?
Oh yeah, this is good though. This is the bit that caught my eye. The survey was by Wagamama.
Oh,
not biased at all.
They suggest you eat a more adventurous,
a more noodly based.
lunch. Maybe a more noodle based diet would go down a lot better. We played you Alan Brazil as Jessie J on the Clips of the Week the other day, and I was reading a quote from Sean Dyche today. He was talking about Amari Hutchinson having such an impact in the game. And of course, he's come in for big money, and that can sort of affect a young player. So Sean said, I told him to forget about the price tag. Sounds like he definitely wants to be in the next Clips of the Week if we can find that. Maybe he can duet with Alan. We'll work on that, our boffins, over the next few days.
That's good.
Yeah, good. Number 102. 102. Can you find cutting 102?
Yeah, I can find it. It's just here we are.
There he is. Yeah.
Oh, it's a lovely bit of column fodder.
Good. Yeah.
Here she is. We've just been staying in a hotel in Marseille where our bathroom had no bath, just a shower. How anyone can prefer showers to baths completely confounds me. Yeah, but how anyone could actually write about it in a national newspaper confounds me.
Yeah.
Who cares? Unlike the case of sinking into a lovely bath, which incidentally, while running, has already heated up a potentially chilly bathroom. Approaching a shower tray is an exercise in self-harm. No, it isn't. Either you stand naked, shuddering, risking in turn freezing or scalding yourself in an effort to get the water to an acceptable temperature.
Yeah, I wouldn't open with this, by the way.
You just do the thing, and then when it's right, then
she's no Jerry Seinfeld, is she, with this material?
Honestly. Or you have to engage in the ridiculous palaver.
Yeah,
it's not a palaver. You just want to test the temperature. Honestly, I don't get it.
You love her column, Andy. You're obsessed with the woman.
I've got so many of them.
Name a sport where players don't know the rules. Try 80% of amateur golfers, says Sam. Well, funny you should say that, because Patrick in Gloucester said, I had a very bad experience. I didn't know the rules of golf. I was playing with two mates and I hit a ball into the bunker. Well and truly plugged it was in the sand. So I got in the bunker, using my wedge and my shoes. I started moving all the sand away from my ball. I made a really good job of it and was ready to go until one of my friends said, what are you doing? And said, no, you can't do that.
Didn't know the rules.
And he said, put it back as it was, and I don't know how many shots I used up. So, off the back of Ben Hamer, do tell us this afternoon what went on when you didn't know the rules of the game. Played in a summer hockey league, and I didn't know you weren't allowed to nudge players off the ball like you can in football. And I flattened a poor young girl on the opposition side. Though I was a quality player and better than most of them, even if you do say so yourself. I was quite embarrassed by getting shouted at by a young girl in front of everyone. We shouldn't have been so rough then, should you? Dear me. Thank you very much for that. Keep them coming. talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH and J, 03717 223344.
And they found another variation of a hole-in-one talking of golf, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, but hopefully we'll speak to the person in question.
Really,
3 holes in one in a week.
Month. Yeah.
Was it a month or a week?
Month. The odds are 2 trillion to 1, apparently.
I hope she had a fiver on it. That would be good, wouldn't it? Anyway, the latest edition of
£5 trillion.
21. The bookies would never pay that out, would they? They're never going to give you 5 trillion.
No, they'd find a reason.
The latest, because they just haven't got that kind of money. That's the reason. The latest episode of the 21 Minutes to Go podcast with Andy Goldstein and Jason Cundy is out now. Probably what they'd say is, but you can't bet with us again. I don't need to bet with you again. I'm worth £21 trillion. Talking to 21, 21 minutes to go. All the usual nonsense this week, including a painfully long section where the boys try to figure out the name of Jake Paul's well-known brother.
What's his name? Paul, not Jake Paul, the other one. What's his brother called?
Craig
Paul.
It's Craig Paul.
No, let's not Google it. Let's try and work it out. Do you know the one I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Jake Paul
Jake and his brother Arthur. No, okay.
Right.
But Barry Paul. It's not
Boris. Either Paul.
Jake Paul.
Is that his name? No, Jake Paul's the original one. Oh, Jake and... Paul brothers.
Jake and Crit. No, I want to say this end of the alphabet. Gary Paul.
we keep going back to Gary Paul.
It's Paul. It's Paul. Everybody knows that.
Of course, it's Logan.
How many times have you heard
shouting Logan?
How many times have you heard Jason and Jamie on the sports bar going Paul? So they're obviously spoken to him enough times on the show, haven't they?
You don't say.
So there we are, Gary Paul. So if you fancy spending 21 minutes of your life listening to Andy and Jason, you can check out 21 Minutes to Go, available now with your favourite podcast provider. So coming up then, we will be speaking to boxer Tommy Walsh. Stephen Cork is going to pop in and see us, and we'll be entering the world of illegal streaming. Adam Leventhal from The Athletic has done a very deep dive into the world. And some very interesting findings. We'll look at some of the reasons behind it. That's all coming up here on the show.
Just how damaging will yesterday's 3-0 defeat at the Etihad be for the defending Premier League champions? Liverpool have now lost 5 games this season, and on only 3 occasions has a team lost more than that and gone on to claim the title. Arsenal invincible Martin Keown wonders if they're facing a crisis at Anfield.
I don't know whether or not the manager's lost them a little bit. He's very pragmatic afterwards. You know, there's 7 defeats this season. Performances have fallen well short of where they were last season. It was quite magnificent last season. He's got to get that back, but it doesn't look as if he's got the players completely on board.
Well, there's still plenty of contention about Virgil van Dijk's disallowed goal yesterday, with many saying it should have stood. The former Premier League referee Chris Foy is inclined to agree, but explains overturning a decision isn't as straightforward as it seems.
Once the decision is given on field, you know, it's very difficult then for the VAR to overturn it. I think they need clear evidence. You know, it's very, very subjective. And is it a clear and obvious error where Michael Olive can intervene? I don't think it is.
There is some joy on Merseyside, though, with Everton well clear of a relegation threat. David Moyes is mostly pleased with how the season started for the Toffees, but he's particularly been impressed with James Garner.
He's probably getting closer to getting talked about for England, I think, because of his performances, but he's played full-back for me as well. He's done a brilliant job, Jimmy, for us.
Get more at talksport.com.
Autumn International's review on talkSPORT with Funding Circle. Tackle your business goals head on with fast, fair and hassle-free finance solutions. Find out more at fundingcircle.com.
Yes, let's recap last weekend's Autumn International action with Funding Circle. Here's talkSPORT's Alfie Reynolds with all you need to know.
Well, England have only beaten New Zealand on 8 previous occasions. The most recent one of those was the World Cup semi-final in 2019. With New Zealand coming to Twickenham this Saturday, Steve Borthwick's side will aim to make it win number 9. So far this autumn, England have beaten Fiji and Australia. So how have those matches helped prepare them for the challenge of the All Blacks?
This week, the focus has got to be on us getting better, because we're going to need to be a lot better if we're going to go and win that game, because you know New Zealand are an unbelievable team, and they always seem to rise to the occasion of coming to Allianz Stadium.
And that's the England hooker Jamie George speaking after the victory over Fiji. And England come into the game on Saturday on a 9-game winning streak. Many people will feel that they should beat New Zealand. It's a game that will define their November and perhaps even their 2025. So next up for England, it's New Zealand at Twickenham on Saturday. All the build-up coming throughout the week here on talkSPORT, and England are set to name their team for that clash on Thursday.
Thank you very much, Alfie. That was our recap of last weekend's Autumn International action with Funding Circle.
Autumn International's review on talkSPORT with Funding Circle. Supporting the supporters with fast, fair and hassle-free business finance solutions. Find out more at fundingcircle.com.
We're about to enter the underground world of illegal streaming. That is a new documentary made by our next guest, broadcaster and journalist from The Athletic, Adam Leventhal. Good afternoon, Adam.
Hi, gents. How are you?
Good, thank you. Yes, a very interesting world. I'm sure many of the listeners be fully aware of it. It is, it is everything from looking for overseas feeds on match days to hooky fire sticks, etc. And you've taken a deep dive out into this world, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a hot potato topic, this one, gents, and I'm sure a lot of people listening or watching as well would probably just call it streaming. Not illegal streaming, because it's become so common, and that's established in some of the research that we did for the documentary. We had a YouGov poll in there that basically said that 9% of the UK adult population had illegally streamed over the last 6 months. And then another 9% on top of that were unsure or preferred not to say. And, we've spoke to people within the documentary that said it's very, very difficult to actually assess the amount of people that are using, as you say, fire sticks or unauthorized websites or social media streams, or, this is a big growing thing as well, which is termed in the documentary geo-piracy, using VPNs to basically circumnavigate the rules that mean that you can't watch 3 PMs in the UK. So, I describe it in the documentary as being like an onion, because there are layer after layer of issues involved in this. And for both sides, for the fans, but also for the rights holders, Premier League, Sky Sports and stuff, it probably make you cry as well along the way, because it is a tough one.
You did a good job in identifying some of the reasons this has, I think, have come about, and you're right. The availability of matches, the 3 o'clock kickoff, the fragmentation, that was so in there. We talked about this on this show when this whole thing, Sky's monopoly, was challenged. We went, the upshot of this is, if it goes through, everybody's going to have to pay more. Yeah. And I've got 3 subscriptions to watch football. It's really expensive, and that is the problem. They've got to, if they want to cut this out, they've just got to make it cheaper.
Yeah, I think the price point is a big issue, but I think also, and this is by far me speaking for the industry at all, but I think that there is a little bit of sort of historical difficulty that Sky has, that BT, now TNT, you had Amazon as well, where people think that it is really, really expensive. But there are actually some more options nowadays which are actually streaming based, which aren't that expensive. So I think that people, in the process of experiencing that fragmentation of having a Sky, a BT, TNT and an Amazon, have gone, I've had enough of this. I'm going to just find the easiest way and the cheapest way. And that's made it very difficult for some of the broadcasters to actually really fight against a sort of a growing tide of piracy, which I think is part of it as well. I'm not to say that it's not expensive, and various different people, will have different budgets, and that is quite acceptable. But there will also be a lot of people that go, well, no, I've sort of lost an engagement in this process, and I'm just going to find the easiest way. And there are so many different ways of doing it now.
I think there's also a bit of a feeling, Adam, that there's a kind of victimless crime. They're thinking, well, these big streaming companies are worth billions. They can afford it, and they don't get my 80 quid a month. But it's not quite true, that, is it?
No, it's not. There is a criminal background to this, and I actually looked into the sort of the history of piracy. I'm not going to take you back to the time of the scriptures and things like that, but more the 2000s, when piracy started on a decentralized internet, and the spirit of sort of freedom of expression and freedom of speech was the key thing. People thought, well, look, we own this thing. Why can we not spread it around a bit? And that does remain to this day. However, I think that, and I spoke to a pirate that was operating back then, and he basically said, we don't like these paid for piracy services, because the Robin Hood spirit has been sort of switched into people getting hoodwinked. And there's a lot of money that's available for criminal networks to actually make money, and that money can go into all sorts of different stratas of criminality. And there is also the risk of your data being stolen as well. And that is pushed a lot by the industry, by Sky, by the Premier League and things like that. But as you said, fans don't necessarily consider that. And, the research that we did, 2/3 of the people polled said that they don't consider it a risk. They get on with it. And it's, there was another person that we featured in there, a woman called Larissa Knapp, who's the Chief Content Protection Officer for the Motion Picture Association. And she basically was saying that people, make an assessment of criminal activity throughout the course of their day. Will they speed? Do you leave your? It's not criminal to leave your windows open, but it's a risk. So, people just see this and go, well, yeah, fair enough, we'll kick on, and it's going to cost me 80 quid a year rather than 80 quid a month.
I do think the 3 o'clock blackout is something they're going to have to look at, as well as direct-to-consumer, like Premflix, as you called it in the documentary. Because for years I've wanted to be able to buy a season ticket to watch Chelsea. I'm never going to go to see a National League South game. It's not me. I'm a Chelsea fan. I want to watch Chelsea. I want to watch them away from home at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, and I'd pay for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the 3 p.m. blackout is a huge thing, isn't it? The research that we did was at the beginning of the Premier League, 66% of games were at 3 p.m. on a Saturday, and last season that's down to 33%, and that's basically because the broadcasters have pushed all the games outside of 3 p.m. as much as possible so they can commercially exploit them. But it has made that blackout less and less necessary. And there are actually 11 occasions over the last season, and including this season, whereby the threshold wasn't met for the blackout actually to be standing. But the reason it stayed is because it's baked into the broadcast contracts. And it's just becoming more and more frustrating for people who, could go abroad or get a subscription to a foreign broadcaster and use a VPN, which is something that a lot of people have been doing. They think, well, I want to watch. I just want to watch the game, and consumers are so much more nimble nowadays, and that's the big issue. That the industry, the rights holders know that the audience is moving in that direction, and they have to come up with a better solution.
Adam, is it available to listen to now?
Yeah, a bit silly me saying it wasn't now. It certainly is.
Is it free to download, or is it behind the paywall?
That's the thing. I very much enjoyed being able to say that it is free to listen to.
Good.
Especially about illegal streaming. Yeah, it is on the Athletic, all your usual podcast places, the Athletic FC, the what's it called? The Underground World of Illegal Streaming. That's what it's called.
Cheers, Adam. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Adam.
Take care, gents.
Adam Leventhal there, and you can go and check that full story. It was interesting. A lot of young people saying people of my age are just not paying for streaming. So some worrying stuff for the broadcasters. Stephen Corker's going to pop in and see us next. Formerly Liverpool, Spurs, Swansea. Of course, we're here with Toolstation. Check out their unmissable deals. Great offers on hundreds of trade brands. Next stop, Toolstation. Been joined in the studio by the former Spurs QPR, Liverpool, Swansea, Sierra Leone centre-half, Stephen Cork. Hi, Steve, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good afternoon, guys.
Good to see you. We were just talking about the trend again for long throws and set pieces and stuff. You would have been a whole lot busier, but you were sort of making the point it is quite cyclical, isn't it? You've back when you first started playing, you were playing against Tony Pulis' side. You were used to it.
Yeah, Sam Allardyce as well. You know, they were set piece geniuses, or they'd be called geniuses today. It was all called the long ball back then and the ugly side of football. But we had to deal with the Rory Delap throw. We had to deal with Matt Jarvis whipping him in for West Ham and Andy Carroll coming at the back post. That was a big thing, and a lot of teams used it to their strengths. 10, 15 years ago, it seemed to disappear for a little while. Pep came to England and we started to go, pretty football playing out from the back. But as we're seeing now, especially with Arsenal, like Brentford, Palace, etc., it's coming back and it's proven to be effective.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Do I like it? I don't like defending it, if I'm honest with you, but I love as a centre-half that it gives me a chance to get up there, get in the mix, chance of getting an assist, chance of scoring. So I would say it's effective. As a coach today, I look at it and definitely want to add that to my side. But, as a fan, I don't want to see it. Of course, I want to see the ball on the deck and teams going at it, wingers getting the ball and going to be their man 1v1 rather than, crossing.
It's much more exciting watching Jeremy Doku do what he did yesterday.
Oh, my God.
Throwing it in from...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Talking about him, by the way, he was sensational yesterday. One of the best performances I've seen from a winger for a long, long time.
Well, you wouldn't want to be marking him, would you? You wouldn't want to have to be picking him up. I mean, we probably had a few stints at right back.
He did all right, actually.
He didn't do too bad, but it was hard, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, I thought he did. I thought he was absolutely outstanding during the week against Real Madrid, and that's against Vinicius Junior, who's renowned as one of the best, if not the best winger around. But Jeremy Doku, he really put him through the paces, and I felt that he did well. He did well considering how good Doku was on the day. But it was nice to see, and really refreshing to see a winger getting the ball and going 1v1. Because I said the game's changed so much.
I was saying earlier on, his physical strength is very noticeable. He's very hard to bump off the ball. You often see tricky wingers and they get quite a lot of free kicks simply because, blowing them, they fall over. But he is not like that at all. He's always looking to stay on his feet. That low centre of gravity, the balance, and the power he's got, which makes him very hard to get off the ball.
Yeah, I think the power you mentioned there is key. He's a really powerful, explosive player. And, if you think of Neymar, who's also got a lot of skill, he's very light and tends to go down more often than he should. Yeah. But Doku stays on his feet, or tries to stay on his feet, and actually wants to beat the man and then go at him. I remember watching him when he first made his debut against West Ham. He was, I would say, exciting that day, but then Pep wanted to adjust because he wanted more end product from him. You're starting to see the end product today, so they credit to both of them for the job they've done.
Have you been surprised at what's going on at Liverpool this season? I know you've been working over in Iceland, but I'm sure you're keeping in touch with the Premier League.
Yeah, I was actually at the Liverpool-Madrid game during the week. I thought that Liverpool were good during the week. I didn't think Madrid were that great, but I thought Liverpool were good. They looked to have turned a corner, obviously, after beating Aston Villa as well. They seem to be, I don't know, something's missing. I don't know if it's a case of just signing too many players at once and having to try fit a lot of big egos, a lot of big players, big characters into a side. That's a tough task for any manager, but of course we can argue that maybe he wanted that. Who made the signings? I expect that he certainly had a big hand in making those signings.
Why would you say no to any of the signings they made? They're all brilliant players, and in fact he's got two players in one position. We probably only needed one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good question you ask, actually, but in my experience, managers do say no at times because when you're bringing in so many big characters and they come with such a big price tag, there's an expectation that they're going to play. There's an expectation they're going to be the main man. You've already got the main man there in Mo Salah. So when you bring in Ekitike, when you bring in Isak, they're players who are big name players who want the ball, who want the limelight, and I think there's a bit of a struggle going on right now with Liverpool, just in terms of Liverpool usually play for Salah. That's how it's been. You go back a couple of years, we saw Sadio Mane and Mo Salah go at it because there seemed to be a little bit of an argument going on between them. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that this year because, as I said, there's so many big characters, top players that they're having to find a system, and it's up to Arne Slot obviously to find that.
I think they're missing Trent. He is anyway. The balls that he put in for him, definitely.
Absolutely, Trent.
And it's also, Van Dijk, him and Van Dijk, they are getting on. They are getting the wrong side of 30. And eventually there will be a drop.
He did need some help. I mean, the Gay deal would have been perfect. I think he needed someone like that, didn't he? Really in the summer.
Defensively, yes, but then you'd argue that it's another signing and another player to fit into the system, another player to fit into a squad. You know, when you're bringing in so many characters, it does create a little bit of an unrest. You know, that can be a positive impact, and it could also be a slightly negative impact. And I just think it's going to take some time for all these players to settle in.
What have you made has been happening at your old club Spurs, where you started out? Thomas Frank's been a bit of a period of adjustment for him.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say he's adapted pretty quick. Spurs are just struggling with a little bit of consistency right now. I think I think they played the best I've seen them for years when they played Man City away at the start of the season, and I was super excited about what was to come this season. Then they've struggled at home a little bit. It's been a little bit inconsistent, and I'd certainly say in the forward area they've struggled. But when you've got Mickey van der Ven running from his own box to score at the other end, you'll be all right. I think Spurs will be all right this season, but they will have to improve with their consistency if they're going to compete for the top four.
They need to win at home. We all know what it's like for your team. I don't have to go back a little bit with Chelsea, but if your team's constantly losing at home, you lose interest. It doesn't matter that they keep winning away. You want to go there and see them do something, and
it does affect the dynamic and the atmosphere. You know, and you can feel the tension in the stadium all the time. It is a bit of a problem.
It's a bit weird, though, isn't it? I mean, they're way bottom of the league in home form. Does anybody know the reason for this? Does the stadium inspire other teams? What is it? Different managers. It's not just Frank, it was not just Postecoglou.
I mean, we lost a lot of games at home and away under Ange last year, so it wasn't just a home record.
Yeah, last year was a strange one, let's say. But this year, it's a really interesting question you ask about, is it more difficult to play at home? At times it has been. I'd say it's certainly in my career, I've had times where at QPR we really struggled away from home, and ultimately we got relegated as a result of it. But I've had other times, especially in Turkey, where actually we struggle to play at home because it starts to get in our heads that we can't get a result. The fans are already on the edge of their seat because they're already a little bit edgy coming into it because you haven't got the form. Before you know it, it builds, and also the belief of the other team. The other team know, actually, we're coming in today, we've got a chance. Let's get on them, the crowd will turn. Football's so much played in the mind. So it is a thing that's going to have to shift, and you're going to need the leaders of the team to help turn that.
I mean, they had won 4-0 at home on Tuesday in a great positive atmosphere. So,
it's a big difference playing Copenhagen and Manchester United.
No, that is very true, yeah. Just a quick one on AFCON. You went out with Sierra Leone and played in it, and then had to go back and adjust. And quite a few teams are going to be losing players, including Manchester United and Weymouth and stuff. What is it like when you come back? Because you're playing almost like a World Cup, a huge tournament, like a Euros, in the middle of the season, and you're going to live with the disappointment or the highs of winning it. Then you've just got to go back to the bread and butter, which doesn't happen in European or in football in different parts of the world.
Yeah, it's certainly challenging. You know, I went to the AFCON in Cameroon, and there's a lot of travelling. You know, that's a big part of it. There's so much travelling that goes on within Africa, and travelling isn't always the easiest there, depending on which nation you're with. So that, for me, was an incredible experience, as you mentioned, being as big as what seems like the World Cup, you know, over there, because there's a realistic hope of actually winning it. But on the flip side of it, when I had to come back to my club, you know, the flight would have taken 2 days. I said it's going to take 3. I needed that little breather. I just needed that one day to
the clubs are all sympathetic about. They just want you back and playing, don't they?
They want us back.
Yeah, they're paying your wages.
Exactly what I was about to say. They're paying our wages. The teams, you know, either winning, losing, or drawing during that period. But you're if you've been selected to go and play in AFCON, you're likely to be one of the starting 11. So you're a big part of the team, and the manager understandably wants you back. They were, in that situation, rushing to get me back, take a day to take a breather, and all of a sudden I'm back, and I'm having to get with the flow again. So it is challenging. But having said that, if I'd have won AFCON,
you'd be flying, wouldn't you?
It would have been absolutely flying. It'd be a different story. So it depends how the tournament goes.
And you're enjoying life in Iceland. I think you went over there not to play, but you've ended up playing, haven't you?
Yeah. So I wanted to start my coaching journey. I went over there and signed as player assistant. I had an agreement with the coach that I wouldn't play too many games, but unfortunately there was a few injuries, and I got in the side. We started doing actually quite well, challenging for the title last year, and I ended up playing more games than I thought I would. But it's still a great experience. Half the week is spent coaching, the other couple of days is spent with my boots on training, and just learning. You know, I felt that I looked at a lot of ex-players who have gone straight in at the top and maybe fallen a little bit short, you know, mostly due to lack of experience, and I wanted to make sure that I get that experience in every way I could.
Brilliant. Well, Matt Jarvis is coming up next. He'll be delighted he got a name check from you from slinging in those those crosses
That's true.
for Andy Carroll, who's still playing, isn't he?
He is still playing, yeah. He's still causing defenders nightmares, I'm sure.
Cheers, Stephen. Good to see you.
Cheers, thank you very much.
Stephen Corker there, former Liverpool, Spurs, Swansea, QPR defender. Yeah, Matt Jarvis going to join us for a chat. Apart from West Ham, of course, he played for Wolves, and Rob Edwards is going in there. What does Matt make of that? We'll get his thoughts very shortly.
Just how damaging will yesterday's 3-0 defeat at the Etihad be for the defending Premier League champions? Liverpool have now lost 5 games this season, and on only 3 occasions has a team lost more than that and gone on to claim the title. Arsenal invincible Martin Keown wonders if they're facing a crisis at Anfield.
I don't know whether or not the manager's lost them a little bit. He's very pragmatic afterwards. You know, there's 7 defeats this season. Performances have fallen well short of where they were last season. It was quite magnificent last season. He's got to get that back, but it doesn't look as if he's got the players completely on board.
Well, there's still plenty of contention about Virgil van Dijk's disallowed goal yesterday, with many saying it should have stood. The former Premier League referee Chris Foy is inclined to agree, but explains overturning a decision isn't as straightforward as it seems.
Once the decision is given on field, you know, it's very difficult then for the VAR to overturn it. I think they need clear evidence. You know, it's very, very subjective. And is it a clear and obvious error where Michael Olive can intervene? I don't think it is.
There is some joy on Merseyside, though, with Everton well clear of a relegation threat. David Moyes is mostly pleased with how the season started for the Toffees, but he's particularly been impressed with James Garner.
He's played great at midfield, and I've said a couple of times recently he's probably getting closer to getting talked about for England, I think, because of his performances, but he's played fullback for me as well. He's done a brilliant job, Jimmy, for us.
Some good news for Villa fans this afternoon. Morgan Rogers has signed a new contract. It's a 6-year deal, meaning he'll stay at Villa Park until 2031. He says simply, it's home. Meanwhile, both Billy Gilmore and Lennon Miller are out of Scotland's crucial World Cup qualifier with Greece. They need a point to set up a one-match showdown with Denmark for qualification at Hampden next Tuesday. And in Rugby Union, Scotland's head coach has mixed feelings after coming so close to a first ever win over New Zealand. Gregor Townsend spoken to talkSPORT.
It was our first game since really the Six Nations with all our players back, so to play at that level straight away is pleasing, but not to win is disappointing.
Get more at talksport.com.
Hawksbee and Annie Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Angelina Kelly's going to pop in and see us. She's involved in our Manchester United YouTube show here on talkSPORT. We may touch on that, but we'll certainly be talking women's football, looking back on the WSL weekend. City are now top after Arsenal and Chelsea carved each other up, didn't they, really, in their game on Saturday.
Very strange performance from Chelsea.
We're going to be chatting to the Barmy Army's Adam Canning. There's been a huge interest. There's going to be 40,000 England fans heading to Australia.
It's going to be like a home James.
Mad.
It's good, though.
Adam will tell us why it's proving so popular this time around. And Tommy Welsh, boxer, joins us. He's fighting Richard Riakporhe on the undercard of Eubank Ben 2, which will bring you live on talkSPORT. Before that, though, you had Simon Jordan call the Wolves job a crap job. Just now, I'm sure our next guest
he's
won't
got a
agree
point,
with that.
He?
Well, if you've played, only 200 games for a club, you may have a different opinion. Their former winger Matt Jarvis joins us now. Hello, Matt.
Hi, how are we doing?
Not too bad. Yeah, Simon's not, as you know, not mincing his words as usual. It's certainly going to be a difficult job, isn't it, for him?
100% a difficult job. Yes, it's going to be tricky. He's got to pick morale up. He's got to get better performances, keep clean sheets, score more goals. All of the above is something that he has to do. But it's a Premier League job. He's obviously, I played with him at Wolves, so I know what he's about. I know his affiliation to the club. People forget he also started his coaching journey there. He's done the academies. He's worked his way up. So there's a lot of that probably pulls on his heartstrings as well.
He must know he must realise the situation. Do you think that he's had a word with them and said, look, we're probably going to go down, but, I need to be sort of thinking about next season, rebuilding and that sort of thing?
I would definitely think that's been made. The conversation has been had, yeah, for sure. All eyes will be on making sure that he can keep the club up, but if you're going into the job, you've got to have all your eyes. You've got to have your eyes open to the fact that it's a terrible position to be in. 2 points, really difficult situation to get yourself out of. So you are potentially looking at next season as well. So that conversation has had to have happened.
The quality just isn't there. I mean, to lose two players of the quality of Cunha and Nouri and
but they lost them early in the window.
Yes,
they had like sort of £100 million to spend.
Yeah,
which they could have spent.
The recruitment has really not been as good, and they just haven't brought in the quality, have they, Matt?
No, I think you're right. You say that. I even think that they knew way before that them two players were going to leave.
Yeah.
So they had the opportunity to get the recruitment in, and I think unfortunately for Wolves, really, the last few years they seem to have sort of just got away with. They don't seem to be buying players that played in the Premier League that can hit the ground running. They've been buying players from abroad that haven't ever played. It takes time for them to settle, and they've sort of been getting away with it. And I think this season they just getting a little bit found out, and the players that they've brought in haven't been able to hit the ground as the club would have hoped, and performances haven't been there, and obviously then the results come back, and it's really poor reading.
He should have some money to spend in Jan. You'd certainly hope so. So what do you think they need? I mean, they need quite a lot, but what's the most important things they need, Matt?
Absolutely. January is going to... But the thing is, for Wolves, they'll be the same as every other club that's going to be in and around them. They're all going to be after the same sort of players. For me, Wolves, they have like Pedro in midfield. They've got... Andre, these are good players. Sorry, João Gomez, apologies, in midfield. Like, good players.
They've also got goals, haven't they, in Strand Larsen, which a lot of clubs don't have.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. Before the move to Newcastle didn't go through, I remember him coming on in a cup game against West Ham and scoring 2 goals and looking like a world beater. That he needs that confidence back. He needs the crosses or the delivery to be there for him to go and attack, because he is a goal scorer. But they just concede goals, and when they do concede, it just sort of capitulates. And I think as much as you want to bring players in and you want to improve the squad, it's a mentality thing as well. And I think if Rob does go in, that he has that. I mean, you look at his Luton side especially, that that no one gave him a chance, which is probably exactly the same as what they're going to be saying at Wolves. And he was able to get them to just get that extra little bit out of each and every other player that was on that pitch.
He probably didn't like leaving in these circumstances. He probably thought to himself, look, I've got family ties, I've got personal ties to the club, and it feels I may never get the opportunity to manage this club again. I can understand that, but from he seems like a decent guy. You know him, I don't, but he probably wouldn't have liked to have left Borough in these circumstances, would he?
No, absolutely not. I know that it's a fantastic club. He's doing really well. All eyes was on for a great season and hopefully promotion. But as you mentioned, what's his thought process? Is he thinking that is he going to get this opportunity again? Wolves managing in the Premier League at the moment. It's a club that is very dear to his heart and his family. And as I mentioned, he has been there. He's done his apprenticeship, really, building his way up in the coaching department. And just to be able to go back there as the manager, I think is probably for him too much of an opportunity to turn down.
Yeah. Now, on to West Ham, one of your other old clubs, and Stephen Corker was just saying he remembers we've been talking about set pieces, and he said Matt Jarvis swinging corners for Andy Carroll, so he still has nightmares about that. Things picking up a bit, aren't they? I mean, a couple of back-to-back wins. They're still in the bottom 3, but looks like Nuno's kind of getting it together.
Positivity. I think that's the biggest thing that Wolves fans will see. 2 big results, but then it's just about the team selection as well. I think everyone's been pleased with. Callum Wilson has done fantastic. For me, he's just a really good striker. He's hold up play and obviously scoring as well. He knows how to put the ball in the back of the net, and he'll be a huge player for West Ham this season if he can stay fit. But it's more Nuno. What he brings is a bit of like solid. His teams are solid. They're hard to beat, but they are pragmatic in the way that they go forward. They do create opportunities. They do score goals, but they just with that solid base. And I think it helps when you've got players like Paquetá, you've got Bowen, you've got Somerville that can get you going forward with pace and skill. And then, Freddie Potts, who's come in, has been absolutely outstanding. And I think that only helps Nuno with regards to keeping the fans happy, because he's one of their own. He's incredible what he's done since he's come in. And I think the fans have been calling for him to start for quite a while. So to come in and put the back-to-back performances like he's done, I think is a massive positive push up the table for the West Ham.
Just finally, Matt, you mentioned there like the way Wolves really should have prepared for the fact that Cunha and Aït-Nouri are off. Maybe West Ham should be preparing for life without Paquetá and Bowen, really.
Yeah,
I mean, you
absolutely.
kind of feel, Jarrod Bowen, Liverpool, he'd be a great fit for them going forward. I don't know. I mean, no fan wants to hear that, but you have to be realistic, don't you?
I was just about to say, I don't think any West Ham wanted to hear that at all. But I think with Paquetá, I think there was the possibility that potentially he was going to go to Man City. So I think that's always been on the cards. I think Bowen's just a different story because what he's done at West Ham since he's been there has been phenomenal. And I think he epitomises everything that a West Ham player and a fan wants from their player. His desire, his work ethic, and he's pulled the club through a difficult spell with his goals and his assists and just his general the way he works, the way he makes other players perform on the pitch as well with him. drags them along. So that day, that when it does happen, if it does happen, will be a very sad day for West Ham fans.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't stopped him getting the England team.
No,
so,
if he stays and he commits his future, he definitely deserves a statue. And he hasn't got to have that conversation with his father-in-law, which he's probably dreading as well. So nice one, Matt. All the best. Good to talk to you. Thanks very much.
Pleasure.
Matt Jarvis there, formerly of Wolves and West Ham. Our thanks to him. Still to come this afternoon, Angelina Kelly's going to join us for a chat. The Barmy Army are going mob-handed. 40,000 England fans heading to Oz for the Ashes series. Before that, of course, this Wednesday, 12th of November, we have a talkSPORT grudge match on the paddle court. Drive Time's Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent will take on Jamie O'Hara and Gabby Agbonlahor for the bragging rights at talkSPORT. You can watch the whole thing live on talkSPORT's dedicated YouTube stream for the game, or listen to H&J from 1 p.m. for live updates with Ollie Klink. That's talkSPORT Paddle this Wednesday at 1 p.m. We're here with Toolstation. Check out Toolstation's unmissable deals, great offers on hundreds of trade brands. Next stop, Toolstation.
Paddy Power on talkSPORT. With Paddy's Super Sub, your new bet rolls over to the new player coming on. T's and C's and exclusions apply. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Time now for today's bet builder with our friends at Paddy Power. We welcome Fern Buckley, and we're looking forward to tonight's match in League Two as Cheltenham Town play Notts County at Wadden Road. We have had, I think it's fair to say, Fern, we've all had to do a little bit of research on this one, haven't we?
We've done a little bit of looking at it, haven't we? We had to do a little bit, but no, I'm really excited to do this. It's a bit different, and it tests us, doesn't it?
It will. Maybe this is where we're finally going to win. We think we know about the Premier League, and we lose every week. Well, Cheltenham going pretty well under Steve Cottrell, so I'm going to go for a Cheltenham win.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they were in a pretty terrible position not long ago, but ever since Cottrell took over, things have turned around massively. They picked up 10 points from 4 league matches. They beat Bradford in the FA Cup as well, so it could be an interesting game tonight. That is in a win for them at 13-5.
Andy, it's because Notts County not going bad, so you've gone both teams to score.
Oh yeah, safe bet, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Notts County, they've scored in 4 consecutive away games. They could get past Cheltenham's improved defence, their recent improved defence. Both teams to score. That is in at 13-20.
The producer has gone with Isaac Hutchinson, who's got
a player he knows a lot about.
4 goals in 9 games. He's going quite well from midfield. So I'm sounding like Adrian. I'm completely bluffing. He actually knows what he's talking about. But
you really have done your research, haven't you?
Well, you have to, don't you? So what are the chances of that?
Yeah, he's Cheltenham's leading goal scorer in League Two this season. He's confident, he's in good form. He recently obviously scored the only goal in the FA Cup win against Bradford. He's also a super sub as well, so if for any reason he comes off, Paddy Power will protect your bet, move it over to whoever comes on for him, and that is in at 4-1 for him to score any time.
The people, the most popular bet with the Paddy punters, Luke Young to be shown a card at any time, the Cheltenham defender.
Yeah, another super sub. Now, I'm not going to question the people because they normally know what they're on about, but he's had 3 yellows this season, so not loads, but as a midfielder, he's involved in breaking up opposition attacks, and he could be the end of a foul, which could result in a card. So that is in at 21-10. There's about 50 bets on that on Paddy Power this afternoon.
I personally prefer to see him playing in defence, but there we are. And what have you seen cards?
It's not the same Luke Young who played.
No, it's not the same one. He played for Spurs and Charlton. He'll be about 45, not him. Fern, so cards.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the people's bet as well. For the ref for that game is Andrew Humphreys, who does average quite a high yellow card count. Cheltenham average almost 2 cards per game. Notts average 1.5. So add the maths together. I think over 2 cards could be in, and that is in at 1-12.
I congratulate you for knowing about Andrew Humphreys' card count.
Yeah.
Hey, look, like we said, we did our research. We had to do our research.
So if it all comes off, what are we looking at then?
It's quite nice actually. It all comes in at 34-1, so you could get a return of £350 from a £10 bet. And if our bet goes well with the Paddy Powers money, all the winnings go to the Attitude Foundation, who do great work with the LGBT community.
Thank you, Fern. Thanks very much.
We're going to do it. League Two, we're coming for you.
This is the one. It's Cheltenham, Notts County is going to do it. That's Paddy Powers bet builder for today. Minimum odds 1-5, pulling 18 plus. begambleaware.org.
Paddy Power on talkSPORT. With Paddy's Super Sub, your new bet rolls over to the new player coming on. T's and C's and exclusions apply. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
I was listening to Adrian walking the dog Saturday afternoon. He has all these little nuggets. When a goal goes in the player, he just has all this stuff at his fingers. It's brilliant. It's
fantastic.
Great listen every Saturday afternoon. Anyway, let's turn to cricket. We got a special cricket show at 6 is coming up. We have Harmy and Gothie and lots of top cricket guests joining us. We build up to the Ashes. Sadly, we won't be there. Our next guest will be. He's an advance party because 40,000 England fans are going to be heading there. The Barmy Army are going out.
I hope it's still alive by the time they all get there.
Yes.
I've got a horrible feeling they might be 2-0 down, but we'll see.
Let's have a chat with Adam Canning, Commercial and Operations Director for the Barmy Army. Hi, Adam.
Hello, chaps.
Yeah, wow. Look, you're used to taking a big sort of travelling army of England fans over at the Ashes, but he said this has been unprecedented.
Yeah, obviously, having not travelled last time because of the pandemic, it's 8 years since England fans have been able to get down to Australia. So there's a lot of pent-up demand, but also that's backed by a real excitement and enthusiasm that it's going to be different this time. Obviously, Bazball, Ben Stokes, the way the England team are playing, I think it's a bit of a perfect storm. So, yeah, there's going to be tens of thousands of England fans travelling there this winter. And I think yeah, confidence is like it hasn't been for a long time. So we're hoping that this time we'll be bringing the urn home.
I just wish they had a bit more preparation. I just don't get it. I don't get 1 3-day game, whereas they've all been playing Shield cricket, red ball cricket. I think that's a mistake, but we'll see.
Yeah, let's hope for the best. I mean, do you get an allocation from an England point of view? How does it work tickets wise?
Yeah, so for the Ashes, we're appointed as an official travel operator. So the tickets that are sold to travelling England fans essentially have to be sold with a flight or a hotel. So we've done 3,000 on our official programme, which is 3 times more than we've ever done before. Independent travelling fans with an Australian postcode or people in the UK were able to get access to tickets at a later date. But on the on-sale period 12 months ago now, we saw an amazing number of people that just couldn't wait to guarantee their ticket and their experience. And as I'm sure you can imagine, most people travelling halfway around the world to watch England play want to guarantee that they're sitting with the Barmy Army and not on the other side of the stadium. So there's a lot of people in the mix, there's a lot of people scrambling for tickets, and it's going to be packed to the rafters of England fans that are just going to be behind Ben Stokes and the team from day one.
The events that you've got planned sound fantastic. You've got a pre-match party you can tell us about, and also a Christmas Day dinner. I mean, the numbers are just staggering.
Yeah, you're not cooking. How many turkeys are you going to need for over 1,000 people? Yeah, 1,500 people.
Yeah. I've got a story about turkeys on our last tour to South Africa that I don't want to talk about. But yeah, we've got huge plans for our events. We've been working on this project for 2 or 3 years now. So we've got pre-test parties at every venue the night before the test match, and we're going to have 1,000 people in Perth for what we've sold as the Ultimate Ashes Party, with Graham Swan, Alistair Cook, Darren Lehman giving the Australian perspective. We're going to have our Barmy Bingo, which is a great way for the fans to learn songs in a fun environment, a live band, the cricket DJ. So an amazing night just to kick off the week. We've also got the Bashes, which is our T20 series we play against the Australia fans again the day before every test match, and we've managed to secure the Wacker for the first game in Perth. So there's going to be an amazing opportunity for some of our members to actually set foot on the famous ground and represent England in some way, taking on the Australian fans in the Bashes series that we actually currently hold. We won the last 2 series 3-2, so we'll be looking to play our part and make sure we win that series again ourselves. But yeah, like you said, the events program, the event schedule is pretty comprehensive, and as we scale up in Melbourne and Sydney, the numbers go through the roof. So we've got 1,500 people booked on for Christmas Day lunch at the Crown Casino in Melbourne. So that's going to be an amazing day. Obviously an operational headache and something that we're both excited and nervous about, but I'm sure it's going to go smoothly, and we're going to have England fans getting together the day before that Boxing Day test match to celebrate being in Australia together. And for New Year's Eve, we'll have 1,000 people in Sydney, 500 in Melbourne, and yeah, in all of the 5 destinations, we've got lots planned for the fans.
Generally, it's good natured, but we've seen over here it can get a bit lively, can it, between England and Australian fans?
It can do. I think the tone of what's happening in the game kind of sets that. But I think from a Barmy Army perspective, it's fun. It's all part of the experience. It's part of that Ashes rivalry. But we always make sure it's respectful. We'll poke fun at them. They'll poke fun at us. But it's all in good spirits, and it never crosses the line. So that's something we're really proud of, and we police that, and the fans police that themselves. It never crosses the line.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, well, look, safe journey. Hope it all goes well, and obviously hope we win. Hope we win. It'll be even better. But nice one. Thanks very much. Cheers, Adam.
Thanks for having me.
Adam Canning, Commercial Operations Director for the Barmy Army. 40,000 England fans.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, it should be brilliant. And we'll be bringing you out our special preview show next week with Darren Goff and Steve Harmos and lots of other fine cricket guests building up at the start of the Ashes. We're going to talk a bit of WSL next and some Manchester United, I'm sure, with talkSPORT's very own Angelina Kelly, and then Tommy Welsh, boxer, will join us for a chat. He fights against Richard Riakporhe this Saturday at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the biggest room he's fought in. So we'll see what he makes of that. And that's all coming up after the news headlines.
Just how damaging will yesterday's 3-0 defeat at the Etihad be for the defending Premier League champions? Liverpool have now lost 5 games this season, and on only 3 occasions has a team lost more than that and gone on to claim the title. Arsenal invincible Martin Keown wonders if they're facing a crisis at Anfield.
I don't know whether or not the manager's lost them a little bit. He's very pragmatic afterwards. You know, the 7 defeats this season, performances have fallen well short of where they were last season. It was quite magnificent last season. He's got to get that back, but it doesn't look as if he's got the players completely on board.
Well, there's still plenty of contention about Virgil van Dijk's disallowed goal yesterday, with many saying it should have stood. The former Premier League referee Chris Foy is inclined to agree, but explains overturning a decision isn't as straightforward as it seems.
Once the decision is given on field, you know, it's very difficult then for the VAR to overturn it. I think they need clear evidence. You know, it's very, very subjective. And is it a clear and obvious error where Michael Olive can intervene? I don't think it is.
There is some joy on Merseyside, though, with Everton well clear of a relegation threat. David Moyes is mostly pleased with how the season started for the Toffees, but he's particularly been impressed with James Garner.
He's probably getting closer to getting talked about for England, I think, because of his performances, but he's played full-back for me as well. He's done a brilliant job, Jimmy, for us.
Get more at talksport.com.
Get in the ring to win on talkSPORT.
Take it away, Andy.
Yeah. We've got a new prize up for grabs, and it's a knockout. We're giving you the chance to win 2 tickets to the highly anticipated rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday, the 15th of November. The prize includes a one-night stay at a 5-star hotel in London, plus £5,000 spending money to make it an unforgettable weekend. Listen up, here's how to enter.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word BOX to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 13th of November at 1 p.m. and you need to answer our call to win. This is a TalkSPORT limited promotion. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Time to look back over the Women's Super League weekend and more with Angelina Kelly. Good afternoon, Angelina.
Good afternoon.
We need to start with some sad news, really, certainly from an Arsenal point of view and from her point of view. Terrible. Katie Reid, who's been doing so well, their young defender, suffered an ACL injury in training. That's the 7th ACL since the start of the WSL campaign. Not great.
It's such a shame. And for people that aren't aware, Arsenal's Leah Williamson, she has been out injured, and Katie Reid's been filling in for her. And as a 19-year-old, to have that responsibility, she's taken to it so well. She put in some really good performances for Arsenal. She got a call up to the England squad, but then had to drop out because of injury. And now it's just so sad to see. I mean, obviously at the weekend, Arsenal had Vuba and Steph Catley in defence. Hopefully Leah Williamson will be back soon, but it's going to be a real race for Arsenal, the fact that they're lacking her. So yeah, a real shame, because she was on a real good run of form.
It takes so long to get over these things. You saw Sam Kerr come on as a sub and be effective, but you're still waiting for her to be Sam Kerr that she was before.
Is it taking women longer to come back from ACLs than men? I mean, I don't know. Is there?
I think it depends. Like Rico Henry's taking him ages to get.
I know.
I think everyone's built differently, aren't they? And obviously we know that a lot of women's teams are building to have, the best doctors, the best physios, the best infrastructure to help women. But, that it isn't really comparable sometimes with what a lot of men's teams have. So I think that can definitely play a role. But yeah, it's just the fact that it's so many. You've had Michelle Adjman as well. But I think it's just down to, I would imagine, especially a club like Arsenal, the rehabilitation, and also Arsenal have had a lot of players that have had ACL injuries, so unfortunately they'll be well versed in what to do to how to get her back, but it's going to take a while.
One thing that was incredible on the weekend was 50,000 plus people at the game.
Arsenal-Chelsea match.
Yeah,
the atmosphere was brilliant. The atmosphere was better than the game, to be really honest.
Yeah, I was at Arsenal 1, Chelsea 1 at the Emirates. Yeah, 56,537 was the final figure. But I must say, when I was sat in the ground, it seemed a bit quiet, and it took just before kickoff for the ground to get really full, and apparently there were a lot of issues with queuing. This game kicks off at 12 noon. It's a lot to get 56,000 people to the Emirates at 12 noon when you've got Spurs, the men's team, are playing Manchester United at 12:30. You also had Millwall playing. There was apparently a couple of disturbances and things, which was a bit of a shame, but no, the crowd were absolutely brilliant. It was a really interesting game because you think about Chelsea, they don't drop a lot of points. They went into that game 555 days since they suffered a defeat in the WSL.
They were lucky to come out of there without losing.
I agree. I mean, they went 1-0 up in the 9th minute. Alyssa Thompson, their club record signing, she scored a beautiful goal.
Lovely goal, yeah.
But after, in the second half, Arsenal came out and they were knocking at the door. And I must say, the big talking point has been VAR. You had Stina Blackstenius for Arsenal. She scored the equaliser. It was ruled out for handball. The ball, for context for people that didn't see it, the ball came in from a Beth Mead corner on the left-hand side. Niamh Charles headed it towards Blackstenius, and it hits her abdomen. It does not hit her arms. She gets it into the back of the net, and that's ruled out. Then in the 87th minute, Alessia Russo gets the actual equaliser, which looked offside to me, I'll be completely honest. And then a couple of moments later, Frida Marnham gets technically what would have been the winner for Arsenal, but she was ruled as offside. It was very, very tight, that one.
Was offside,
I think it was.
Yeah,
but the fact of the matter is that Arsenal would have walked away with 3 points. Renee Slager's their manager was absolutely fuming when you could see it on her face when we spoke to her after the game for talkSPORT. They did, and I think there's a lot of things that you can take from it. The fact that they did get a point from Chelsea, and not many people are able to do that. And Renee was kind of saying we can beat them. We've almost proven it today that we can. But to not get the 3 points, it's a real dent in their hopes to try and compete with them for the WSL title.
I don't understand Chelsea's tactics this season. They've done this quite a lot, and they go 1-0 up and then
hold off and
try and hold on. And
they did it with London City Lionesses the weekend prior. They were 1-0 up, and London City Lionesses put up a really good fight, and they were almost lucky that Sam Kerr, deep into injury time, got another goal, and they seemed pretty happy with it. But they seem to have so many chances, and they've not been clinical enough at all.
Now that draw allowed City to go top. They beat Everton yesterday 2-1. So
that wasn't
different
clear cut either, though, was it? That was a tough game for City.
It was. I mean, the thing with Manchester City, they have got Mary Fowler, she's out with an ACL. Carolyn's got a lower body injury. Lauren Hemp is out with an ankle injury. Those are 3 really big players for them. But the fact that they've got Viviana Miedema, who has got 90 goals in the WSL now, and Bunny Shaw, who's a fantastic goal scorer, Golden Boot winner from last season alongside Alessia Russo, they're playing very, very well. And to have 2 forwards like that is such a treat for them. And, they've now won 7 games in a row. They're not always putting on glittering performances, but similar to Chelsea, they're just getting the job done and they're grinding out the results. And I'm sure that Everton, will feel a little bit hard done by. There were definitely positives for them to take, but ultimately City were just the better side.
They haven't got Europe either, which is a good advantage.
Exactly, yeah.
A big win for London City Lionesses, who have just come up and bought a lot of players, and it's up for the manager to bed them in. But big win against Spurs, who could have gone third had they won at the weekend, couldn't they?
Yeah, London City Lionesses 4-2 against Spurs. I'm really enjoying watching them. For again, again, for people that might not know, 17 signings they brought in, including loanees. You've got Michelle Kang, who I've spoke to you guys about before, how much I love her with her sunglasses, and she's very cool, calm and collected. She is putting so much money into this side, and I think it's paying off. You know, they had a tough start. They played Arsenal, Manchester United, Manchester City in the month of September, and I think they conceded 13 goals in those games. Then against Chelsea last weekend, only conceded 2. So I think we're starting to see progress. And Nikita Paris said it after the Man United game. She said, we've got talented players. You know, their captain was one of the first Real Madrid Galactica signings. You've got players that have played at the Olympics, the World Cup, etc. And she said, when this clicks, I think that we'll be good. And we're starting to see it click. And I think that they've been absolutely brilliant. And they're beating sides that they should be beating. You know, they should be beating Everton, Liverpool, West Ham, etc. So to beat Spurs, which on paper, because Spurs have had such a good start to the season, you know, that shows that they're also able to beat teams that technically people wouldn't think they should.
Yeah.
So really exciting to see what they've been doing.
There's some big Women's Champions League games this week, including Arsenal-Bayern, isn't there?
Yes. So we also have Chelsea playing, but one of the big ones as well, Manchester United against Paris Saint-Germain. Of course, PSG's goalkeeper is Mary Earps, former Manchester United goalkeeper, who has been in the headlines a lot due to the excerpts of her book.
I hadn't noticed.
Had you not? It's been a bit quiet, hasn't it? Yeah.
Honestly, I've never seen anybody less well advised. She keeps popping up on my TikTok trying to justify us and say, well, it's, you know, you've got to read the whole book. Like, well, no, it's in there. You know, what can you do?
I thought Hannah Hampton might look to stand her corner. Aaron Shabana felt that she would probably just keep her counsel and get on with it, and that seems to be the route she's gone down. But I felt if certain things have been said about me but not qualified specifically, I'd want to be able to come out and...
I completely agree, because I felt that it was quite dangerous what Mary Earps did. I think to not tell the full story, to say that she had been so disruptive and exhibited bad behaviour, but to not say what it is, leaves it open to interpretation. But speaking to people behind the scenes at Chelsea over the last 2 weekends, because I've been covering their games, spoke to Sonia Bonpastor 2 weekends ago, and she said, you know, I think that Mary Earps needs to show a little bit more respect. For me, Hannah's the best goalkeeper in the world, and she really stuck up for Hannah and Serena Wiegman. Hannah's her player, so of course she will. But people behind the scenes at Chelsea are saying Hannah just wants to focus on her football. She's really just trying to block out the noise, and it's just focused on her performances. And she did let a couple of goals in against Arsenal, but overall she put on a really good display, especially after her captain Millie Bright, who plays just in front of her in defence, on her podcast didn't address it, didn't defend her, just said that she's not going to talk about gossip, which I think for me was a little bit disappointing. A lot of Chelsea fans upset by that, but they seem to be getting on really well. I was on Millie Bright, Hannah Hampton watch, and they were pure professionals.
You were the body language expert.
Yeah, they were pure professionals. High fives all round. So hopefully, you know, Hannah can crack on with doing what she does best. I mean, she was in the FIFA Pro 11 list, which I think says it all.
Thank you, Angelina. Thanks very much. We'll catch up with you soon. Angelina Kelly there, looking back on the WSL weekend. We're going to talk boxing. We're going to build up this week to the big fights, of course, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium with the headline Eubank Ben 2. One of the fighters on the undercard, Tommy Walsh, going to join us for a chat in a few moments' time. We're here with Toolstation and their unmissable deals, great offers on hundreds of trade brands. Next stop, Toolstation.
He's all hype. I can't wait to give him a good hiding.
On that particular night in question, I will show that I have what it takes.
A middleweight contest for the WBO Middleweight Championship of the World. It's all over in the ninth round.
I come up the hard way. I didn't
prove myself, boy.
You had your time. Let's have some parliamentary procedure here, all right?
If I'm going to go for anything, I'm going to go for the draw.
Right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening, the rematch you've all been waiting for.
These scumbags blocked that ambulance.
And Eubanks now is starting to feel it. Oh, big right hand from Eubanks. This is insane.
I ain't going to go in there and try and render him unconscious as much as I'd love to. I'm going to be disciplined in there.
Both guys here going for it. So, big left arm.
It's Taunton Ben's in trouble.
The final scene absolutely delivered. We'll catch you next time.
Yes, let's get us right in the mood, of course. Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Ben meet again. Highly anticipated rematch. We're going to take a look, head to the big fight and more with our good friends at DAZN. It's a cracking undercard as well, we shouldn't forget. One of the fights of interest sees Tommy Walsh take on Richard Riakporhe. Richard Riakporhe on his second heavyweight fight, and could be quite the shop window for Tommy. It's always bad, of course, always good to make you feel old when you don't just remember a fight, you remember the fighter's dad fighting. And I think Tommy and Scott, his dad, join us now. Good afternoon, guys.
Hi, how are we doing?
Yeah, we're pretty good, thanks. So how are you doing, Tommy? More to the point, how's sort of fight week? It's early days, but how's it going so far?
It's nice. We're in a lovely hotel. We're doing the media today, and things are starting to cook up nicely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Scott, I saw that Tommy told you when he was 2 that he wanted to be a boxer. So often kids often want to be a fireman or something like that. But he's doing it. He's lived the dream. Did you always feel he was going to be a fighter?
He's always been in the gym. Listen, he's been in the gym since, as you just said, 2 years old. So he's been knocking around the gyms. He was 8 years old. He was sparring kind of because he was so big. He was sparring kids that were 11, 12 years old. He's been in the gym. He was rugby as well. So the rugby life was pretty tough on him as well. He got a few injuries in that. Decided that boxing would be a safer bet. And here we are.
Yeah, it says a lot about rugby.
I hit a point where it was like, I could have got injured and never played sport again, or I was good at both, and I decided to boxing.
He got his fingers broke. He got his shoulder nearly ripped out of the socket.
It was a rough game, so boxing seemed a little bit easier.
Yeah, the sedate world of boxing was definitely the way to go. This is a great opportunity for you, Tommy, isn't it? It's fighting on a big stage like this. Richard Riakporhe's got some profile from his cruiserweight career, so this could be huge for you.
Excuse me.
It really could. Fantastic for me to mix it with an ex-champion as well, someone with that profile, someone with that exposure, and the respect that he demands from the public as well. Really, I'm coming from the shadows. In the boxing world, we're more known to the boxers and the camps in the game more so than the public. So this is my opportunity now to show my skills and what we do in front of the world stage. And yeah, I can't get on a bigger show than this, so I'm delighted.
Scott, how much are you involved with Tommy's career?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very much involved. I've been a trainer for all his life. I've been matching him, managing him. I've been in this game. I've been living this game all my life. So
I can't shake him off me
my
sometimes.
father was a boxer as well, so
wow.
It's in our genes.
Yeah,
it's in our genes.
You had a great career. You fought some great fighters too.
Yeah, and also you did some interesting stuff, Scott, around boxing. You were a bodyguard at one point for Mike Tyson. I'm sure that was fun when in his raucous years, keeping him on the straight and narrow. And you were in Snatch as well, weren't you? The Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah, I had a couple of little touches, so that was nice. So yeah.
And
he's in fight mode as well.
Yeah,
we're in fight mode and we're all locked in. So
Do you ever hear from Mike?
I think he's still upset that he got beat up by a lightweight against
by a
Brad Pitt.
middleweight. Yeah, getting beat up by a middleweight. I'll never live that down.
So Tommy, you must be really looking forward to it. We should, it should be it's an amazing stadium, and we saw the atmosphere at the last fight. So you're probably counting down the days now, aren't you?
I really am. I'm excited to get in there. The work's done. This is now tapering down, and it's all really just about the mind and getting through the next few days and looking forward to Saturday night. This is something that I've been dreaming about since I can remember, being on these stages in front of the crowds. Fighting someone like Richard Riappo is it's going to be great, and it's going to be a war, and it's a challenge, and everyone's counting me out. So I like being the underdog, and every dog has his day, So
let's just get a quick word on the.
We're under no illusion.
Yeah. Sorry, Scott. Yeah.
Go on.
Sorry, we're under no illusion that on paper we come second. We know that. We know we're up against it. So. And we're happy to take the challenge, and let's wait and see.
You have to roll the dice.
Absolutely. Well, we're looking forward to the fight. We're looking forward to the night. So good to talk to you both, guys. Thanks very much. All the best, Tommy. Thank you. Cheers, Scott.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thanks.
Tommy Welsh there fights Richard Riappo on the undercard.
Be a great night of boxing.
Yeah, Eubank Jr. versus Ben 2 with DAZN. You can watch the unmissable rematch live from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium next Saturday, live only on DAZN, or you can listen to the fight right here on talkSPORT.
Big fight preview. Eubank Jr. versus Ben 2 on talkSPORT with DAZN. Watch the unmissable rematch live this Saturday, only on DAZN.
That is us. We will continue the build-up to the big fight night and England and all the internationals this week tomorrow from 1. Do hope you can join us then. The podcast is available, of course, this afternoon from today's show. We had some good guests. Stephen Corker was on good form, and we entered the world of illegal streaming. Not us personally, of course. It was an undercover report from Adam Leventhal. So that's all on the podcast, wherever you get your podcast, the H&J Daily. We'll see you tomorrow. Coming up next, Andy Goldstein, Darren Bent with Drive.